Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari in Emilia-Romagna, Italy for round 7 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship here at GPVWC. My name is Edward Hunter. Joining me, as ever, is my dutiful, wonderful co-commentator, Eoin Harmon, and our equally dutiful, eagle-eyed, and very, very competent broadcast director, Fabian Jungbluth, both of whom are going to be joining us for qualifying, 31 laps in our feature race, and then 10 laps less, 21, for our sprint, as we see a KKR reversing down the start-finish straight with no front or rear wings, and I suspect not many wheels either, which no doubt signals the end of practice there. So Lucas Filan, no doubt doing a dress rehearsal for the race. Either way, Eoin, here we are then, 7 rounds into this, or about to start our 7th round of the season, but our championship leader, Alex Laho, of course, as he hinted to his last out in Montreal, nowhere to be found. So Hugh Performance, represented by Che Hatch as their lead driver, they've brought in, I believe it is Riccardo Busani, who's going to be filling in for Laho in that team. As you can see the standings there. Laho certainly built himself a big buffer, 251 points to his name. Jack Mayer, the next closest, on 178. Himself a good 24 points clear of Frank Hamming in P2, who was, of course, our runner-up earlier on in the season. Patrick Rozak is just 7 points behind Hamming in P4. Then we've got a little gap to Lucas Filan, Omari Watson in 6th on 119 points, Scott Flack in P7 on 103, Alexander Gonzalez-Green on 93 points, 10 behind Scott Flack, and then rounding out the top 10 we have Michael Francesconi for HGP, and Menno Klont, of course, who, as many people remember, last time we were here, he's our most recent winner here at Imola then. Of course, took his first win in a long, long while in FS1. Very, very emotional occasion. You and I were commentating at the time in 2024. Menno, 2 years on, Menno's got 2 more wins under his belt since then, of course, both in very dramatic reverse grid circumstances. But here we are. It is very, very wide open with Laho out of the picture, it must be said.
Yes, absolutely, Ed. Thanks very much, and welcome back, everybody, after our spring break. The European leg of the season gets underway right now with our qualifying session, and as Menno Klont appears on camera, this is definitely going to be a top 3 memory of mine in commentary, calling that race where Menno managed to win it from Alta Force, with Mike Quint acting as his dutiful buffer. And indeed, I made my on-camera debut here for FS1 racing in 2023. This was the season opener, so that was a great occasion as well. I got my time behind the microphone started, so very much excited for this one after the month's break.
Yeah, I remember one of the very first Canterbury races that I commented here was at Imola, and it had a crazy freeway fight for the lead. But yeah, I think I can't remember my first FS1 one was probably Melbourne one year. Oh no, it was Nürburgring, of course. In that it must have been that 2023 season, I think. The one that Jack Mayer.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Anyway, so Menno Klont begins his first flying lap, which is a good opportunity as he goes down towards the Tamburello chicane, but the first corner technically is called Traguardo, I believe, as he now goes through essentially Tamburello, because the chicane is a more recent addition in the last 30 years, of course, in the wake of course, the very, very tragic events of Imola 1994, where sort of they need to add an extra chicane because it was such a high-speed, flat-out run, basically from Variante Bassa, the chicane, which is now gone, of course, all the way through to essentially the Villeneuve chicane. We're now at Piratella, 10-8, got on the run out of Tosa. Piratella's such a tough corner because you have to sort of commit very, very early on. It's often where the trouble starts because it's so easy when you're following another car to understeer off into the grass and gravel, essentially. As Menno Klont exits Acqua Minerale and now tackles Variante Alta, a very vicious chicane. A lot of drivers will be testing the track limits by cutting the inside curve as much as they can, but we might see 1 or 2 wheels lifting up there as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's a huge risk of getting the car airborne if you attack those curves a little bit too hard. Our first drivers in the private qualifying session begin to log their time. Klont aiming for that 121.5, but it's Francesconi, the day where Alex Laho, while his championship lead is guaranteed, his 74 points thereabouts lead cannot be overturned in one day. the HGP pairing have taken advantage of that so far. But Scott Flack wants to reply to that situation immediately here. He's going for that 121.5. He needs to take provisional pole. He just misses out by 0.04 of a second. Barely anything in it.
Yeah, it is very, very tight at the moment then. And Scott Flack, who has excelled in qualifying in the past, definitely putting in a good showing so far with Francesconi, of course. As you expect, the guy who's got a lot of experience in Super League, our top category, he's always been there or thereabouts so far this season. You also see there Antonio Hrejinovic has gotten the Team Iris number 7 into P3 then. And of course, Antonio previously competed in Formula Sprint 1 back in 2018, is making somewhat of a long-awaited return, a good 8 years later. So yeah, certainly good to see someone of that caliber back behind the wheel. And certainly he was very competitive last time he was here, and he doesn't seem to have lost a step since he's been away. Just 2/10 away from pole position at the moment as we look at Michal Galka for Gallery 82, trying to make his way forward to the front here. And we see a few more times being pumped in. That's Lucas Filin, who's actually just gone third fastest, just 23 thousandths ahead of Hrejinovic. Michal Galka gets into the top 20, P19, but he's quite a way off pole position, a good 9/10 then. So plenty of time to be found here around the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari, otherwise known as just Imola.
Yeah, it's the two possible names you can pick for this circuit. So yeah, it's well. Oh, there you go, Antonio. How about that? That is stunning, to say the least. Team Iris haven't really had their spotlight opportunities in the upper echelon so far this campaign, Ed, but that is absolutely brilliant to have him returning in such fine fettle.
Indeed it is. Faster than anybody in the last two sectors there. That's very impressive. Sector 3 especially, with those last two corners. When you know you're up on a lap, that can be really, really daunting. But Patrick Rozak on his first flying lap has gone 2/10 quicker than Hrejinovic in the first sector then. So we'll have to see if he can complete this one. He's 22 thousandths quicker in the middle sector, attacking the curbs at Variante Alta. Looking neat, tidy, and under control is the Emerald Hummingbird here. And Rozak, of course, remember, he crossed the line in first in Bahrain after setting a pole position, wasn't it, for that particular race, but had the win stolen from him post-race by Alex Laho, essentially. So now with no Laho to get in the way, Rozak has got a golden opportunity here, and he's taking it with both hands, 3/10 clear of Antonio Hrejinovic. And that's a very, very impressive time. 121.194, nearly in the 1 minute 20s, actually. We're not far away from that, the way these guys are driving.
Yeah, absolutely. If he can take advantage. And Philip Koenig crossed the line to try and follow his teammates' footsteps, but I'm afraid it's P21 for now. But if he can find another second, yeah, he will be in contention. Massimiliano Boli, one of our many Italians behind the wheel tonight. So let's see who gets on.
Indeed. We'll have to see. Rubili, of course, teammate to Scott Flack, who's currently P4. So in his one of his home events, because I think we do also have the Italian Grand Prix a little bit later in the season. But Rubili goes as tight as he can to the pit wall, gets up to P17, just behind Craig Patterson, who's filling in for Gallery 82. And he's only 11 thousandths behind Patterson as well. So it's very, very tight between Patterson and Rubili, who faced each other in FS2. And in fact, behind them, we've got, in front of them, sorry, we've got Savinsky for Cat Play, Busani in New Performance, and Bernat in the Alfa Sierra. So a load of FS2 graduates just outside the top 10 at the moment, as Alexander Gonzalez Green has got himself up to P5 with personal best times in the first and final sector there. So Bodel seem pretty competitive here. Two cars in the top 10 at the moment, with James Juba right behind Menno Klon at the present moment. But yeah, big opportunity, of course, for potentially a Grand Prix for Patrick Rozak and the Emerald Hummingbird, and for Frank Cammy and HGP all to gain ground here. But at the moment, potentially have just got Watson in P7, Jack Mayer down in P16. So I wonder if Jack Mayer's maybe been not done a whole lot of practice over, or always just not got a clean lap on the board just yet, as we look at James Rokai, another driver that's made rapid progress up the GPV ladder and has been filling in a couple of races for Alpha Sierra. Can he get up into the top 20? Yes, he can. P14 for Rokai. He was very unlucky last time out, actually, at Montreal. Got taken out in the sprint race, I believe, in an accident that wasn't really of his own making. So let's hope James can have a much cleaner run into the points this time around. He's certainly starting, as he means to go on, right behind Wopke Hoekstra in P13.
Team Hugh Performance, they've got Bassani in 16th, but they need a driver in the points paying positions at least after our qualifying session, just to give them the confidence to make sure that they keep as many points in hand in the Constructors' Championship as possible. So Che Hatch going for his first representative time through the final 2 corners, and he powers down to the line, hugging the apex as best he can. It's got to be in the 122s, but no, he's still down in 26th Ed. This is a concern for Che, but hopefully with 6 minutes to go, he can regroup and try again.
Yeah, he was looking pretty solid in practice then, so I think Che may be just struggling to get things together halfway through this session then, but he's still got enough time to turn things around. But yeah, currently Hugh Performance used to dominating the feature race. They are 16th and 26th on the grid. Busani just outside what would be the points paying positions behind Victor Bernat, of course, by a tiny margin, and he's gone a little bit better in the first sector on this particular lap, 26.6, so that's about 2/10 behind Busani, but matching a lot of runners around him. Middle sector is 27.9. That's very good, actually. So let's see if Busani can maybe get into the top 14 or 13 with this one.
Of course, yeah, he's got to stay nice and patient through the Ravazzas, making sure not to hit that gravel trap on the outside with his right side tires. Perfectly solid to me. He's got to get a 121.9. That helps him up into 13th, but he's another 7/10 off pole position, and a good improvement there. Popped in, I didn't see exactly the name it was, but
I think it was Filen up to P3 and Menno up to P8 is what I saw.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, very good time there for Menno. Scott Flack down in the middle sector at the moment through Variante Alta.
Oh, you can tell Scott's driving from Australia because he lagged over those curbs at Variant Delta, didn't he? So certainly a little bit of flight already for the overpower man, but Scott Flack has got that bit of latent pace as the Australian into the final corner. Ravazza 2, he comes, the rear just complaining ever so slightly, and now it's just the run to the line. 4 minutes to go. Can Scott Flack get in the mix? It's an improvement. Really good purple final sector, but he's still 5 thousandths behind Alexander Gonzalez Green, and he stays in P7. So that shows you just how tight it is, really. Behind Francesconi, it is incredibly close then. And Francesconi's gone a little closer to Rozak, got the gap to just under 2/10. But Patrick Rozak looks very much in command. He seems to be the new Alex Lahogue in Lahogue's absence here.
Yeah, definitely. This will be a point in the season where the challengers to Lahogue's dominance will say, yeah, this was a turning point in our season. It just feels nice that we could do an evening's racing without him. So obviously it will be great when he's ready and prepared to go racing.
You say
again.
He might be listening in.
Yeah, you
while
might
he's
be
on
watching.
holiday.
Yeah, he might be watching the VOD or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully these drivers are ready to go for the final portion of this qualifying session. Tylene, he loves it around Imola. One of his highlight reel moments was, of course, into the Ravazzas. He pulled off a stunning overtake.
It was in FS2, wasn't it?
Yes, it would have been, yeah. Massive moment in his fledgling career back then. So we learned of the Super Swede well and truly that day. So now P3 at the moment, and he's raring to go for this next hot lap. He's just ready for Ravazza, and then he'll be on his way for a timed lap. And here's Antonio yet again, down by 3/10 in the first sector. So it could be a case where if this lap isn't good enough, Ed, he'll know, yeah, it's not good enough. We have to pit and try again.
Yeah, it is a bit of a interesting return then for Harel Janovic, because Harel Janovic. There we go. Yeah, I think Lorenzo's correctly corrected my mispronunciation there, but he certainly is for Team Iris, they won't be used to being this high up the grid, of course, so there'll be a bit of pressure just to bring it home. But Antonio, in the back of his mind, is thinking there's a big opportunity here, if I can get a good start to maybe finish on the podium here, which would be a big statement. Of course, other driver, we haven't talked about him much, but Filip Sawinski, P5, has been very impressive so far as the Polish man, as we see Francesconi desperately trying to improve, but unfortunately for him, he's not gone any faster. 3/10 slow that lap, and Patrick Rozak is lighting up the middle sector once again. Oh, and he is flying.
Very, very incredible work here for Patrick so far. Just has to nail the final 2 corners. Step 1 in the bag, and there goes step 2. Yes, he's nailed it so far. So can he sneak up 1 minute 20 with a minute and a half to go? No, so this will be a proper lap now. But yeah, looking very good in preparation. So here we go for another run to the Tamburello. But James Roquai is in the middle portion of his lap, so halfway there roughly, into the fantastic Acque Minerale. And the 2 right-handers really do challenge any vehicle that you throw into it. So far so good here for the Alfa Sierra. And the matter of the fact is, if this holds on, then yeah, the 15th place he's got right now, he could sneak up a few positions, maybe a top 10.
We'll see then. Rokai definitely very, very keen to impress then in FS1. And he certainly had a few flashes here and there. Currently 15th. Can he at least get ahead of Hoekstra and Bassani? Maybe into the top 13. He goes P11. Yeah. There we go. 121.7 then. And it was a 27.4 in the final sector. Very, very respectable indeed. That's only about a tenth or so off what the front runners are doing. But he's been immediately displaced down to P12 by James Juba and for the Bodal Racing team, who's back into the top 9 then. So very, very good lap by James right when he needed it. Menoclon on his final run there. We've seen, though, Patrick Rozak and Michael Francesconi, I think they are done for the session, as indeed is Lucas Violin then. So it's going to have to be quite a spectacular lap from maybe even outside the top 6 here to even threaten Patrick Rozak.
Of course, yeah, it will take a huge effort. But Menoclon knows how difficulties can be overcome here in GPVWC. He's still in the green for the final lap, and there we go, another few improvements coming in. It's a great improvement there for Scott Flack. So yeah, Scott Flack gains places. Oh, a bit of a wiggle there for Clont. He held the steering wheel as tightly as he can just to keep the car composed, and he hugs that apex again. P8 it shall be. Good improvement, but yeah, that final wiggle cost him a tenth, possibly an overtake on Gonzalez Green. But now Harel Janovic is coming, and he wants his spot on the front row back for Team Iris as a fantastic pickup for the Greek outfit. So here we go, 2 corners to go on this lap. It's a green to start, then a yellow sector, so he's got to balance it out and hope. No, he won't get it. He won't get it, Ed. He's into the pits. Yeah,
bailed out of that one, did Harald Janovic. So that is that part of the session over for him. But still, if you look at how close it is, you saw Menoclon, that one mistake, I think, really was, maybe even that on its own was the difference between P4 and P8, because they are all within less than a tenth of a second in that bunch there. Filip Sawinski will stay P6, but that's still, for a substitute driver, a very, very impressive qualifying to be just 5 thousandths behind Scott Flack, who, as we've established, is no slouch. Ragozza, his final lap, good enough to get him into P14 ahead of the returning Oliver Hargitay. But Frank Hamming, who, of course, is third in the championship behind Jack Mayer, he is P9 on the grid, but he is 2 places, crucially, ahead of Mayer himself. Difficult qualifying session for Potentia, 11th and 12th. Here is the grid order then. Patrick Rozak, by nearly 0.2 of a second, takes pole position for Emerald Hummingbird then. So a brilliant performance once more from the Polish man, the man 4th in the standings. Francesconi, Michael Francesconi taking P2 behind him, and then 3rd on the grid will be Lucas Violin. We've got Antonio Hreljanovic, whose name I'm going to pronounce differently each time I say it, apparently, in P4. So apologies to Antonio, because that's not what he deserves on his return. A brilliant performance there. Scott Flack will qualify P5 ahead of Filip Sawinski, who takes his best qualifying of the season so far. Alexander Gonzalez Green is P7. Menoclon, with that late lap at the end, gets up to P8. Frank Hamming will start P9, and James Juba making it 2 Bodal cars in the top 10. Once more, Bodal have got both their cars right where they need them, but the same cannot be said for Potentia. Jack Mayer ahead of Amari Watson on the 6th row of the grid there. and both of them just under half a second off the pace. James Rokai will start P13, impressive from the Englishman there. Alexander Rogotza will start P14. Oliver Hargitay will be our final car starting in the points-paying positions for KKR. Ricardo Busani will start P16, subbing in for Alex Laho, of course. Wopke Hoekstra will start 17th. Raymond van Susten, the MS Performance, will start 18th, ahead of Philip Koenig. And rounding out the top 20 on the grid will be Massimiliano Riboli. Final 8 cars on the grid will be Victor Bernat, 21st, then the 2 Gallery 82s of Michel Galka and Craig Patterson, filling in for this round only, we believe, at that team. Michael Luvink, another of his 2 drivers, filling in now at Scuderia Cap Clay, will start P24. Matis Skazowski, difficult qualifying for the second Emerald Hummingbird in 25th. Pablo Serrano will start 26th. Che Hatch, 2 seconds off the pace. Not what we expected for Che, so certainly there was something wrong during that entire qualifying session for Che. And then Wesley Stefano did not put a lap on the board, so he will start 28th and currently last on the grid.
Yeah, unfortunately, Excelion have no representation in qualifying today. We heard from Remco in the build-up that he is not put in the practice, so he feels he'd be a hazard to all the other drivers. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we'll see no Excelions racing today, but hopefully they'll be back very soon as the season continues to build up very, very nicely.
Indeed. Now, of course, going into this race, Alex Lowe's 73-point lead over Jack Mayer in the Drivers' Championship. So Mayer, with let's think about this. How many points are on offer for the win? It is, I think is it 25 for the feature race, and then I think, isn't it the same in the sprint? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm sure it'll come to me. I keep forgetting the point system even after all these years. I think because they slightly change it each season.
30 for
30 for the feature.
In feature and 20 in the sprint.
20 in the sprint. That's absolutely correct then, yeah. So that means there's 50 points total on offer if you ace the feature and the sprint, as Alex Laho has done a number of times this season, most notably Japan, Bahrain being the 2 standout examples. But even if Jack Mayer did that, the lowest he could get the gap is maybe it'd be 13 or 23, 23 points, wouldn't it? Because 73 minus 50 is 23, essentially. Yeah, there we go. So there's no way that Laho can come out not in the lead of the championship. But of course, the others can close in. And let's not forget, of course, the team's championship, which is the slightly more precarious one for Hugh Performance. Of course, Che Hatch getting that podium, 2 podiums for the team in the last round at Camden. Laho winning race 1 and Che Hatch P2 in race 2, as they kept them very much in play. But we can't forget Jack Mayer in the middle of a bit of a podium streak. Of course, 11th on the grid is going to make that a little bit of a tougher job in this one. But the lead is, I believe, it's 411 points for Hugh Performance and 297 for Potentia. So that means that is about a 11 plus 3 gap. So a 14-point gap for Hugh Performance, which is not comfortable at all. And then HTP on 259 points, still just about within touching distance as well. So if Potentia can fight back in this feature and then maybe get into good contention for the reverse grid sprint race, then they might be able to emerge here and steal the lead off a few performances, especially with Che Hatch struggling and Busani just outside the points as well, behind both Potentias crucially. So I think it's very much all the play for in the team stable.
Yeah, that it is, Ed. It's a fabulous opportunity for our top teams to stake a claim in the team championship. So there's going to be no messing about. So from Potentia's point of view, difficult qualifying and overtaking. Certainly in the last sector, it's very, very difficult to do it. So you're going to have to be strategic with your race today. And I know from previous experience, the tyres are fairly comfortable around Imola. It's one of the tracks that don't degrade the tyres terribly much, and I know based off that greyish sky, track temperature is still pretty high at 47.3 degrees as of right now from what I can tell. But yeah, it's not going to be a blistering hot day in Imola, so the tyres should be fairly well behaved.
Yeah, we're not expecting any rain like we saw in Montreal as well. The first rainy race in about 2 years in FS1. So yeah, it was certainly a pretty unpredictable scenario. And yeah, just looking a little bit in the chat to see what our viewers are saying. Alex Lowe said hello in the chat, so he is watching. That confirms that. And Timos 4357 says off day today. I don't know if that means for him or for Alex Lowe. Could be both. And Jo Blahoven says, damn, a Savinski P5. So everybody very impressed, including me, by Philip Savinski's performance there. There's every chance that Savinski could be a major factor in this feature race coming up. Of course, 31 laps of action ahead of us. And Alex Lowe says, May 22nd, and then, P11. Oof. So Lowe seems to have gone into his own brand of text commentary there. So maybe we should invite him in if he's on the beach somewhere calling in. Sort of saying, I hope Jack Mayer doesn't get too many points.
Exactly, he's got his own analysis for today's
That's what
race.
we need, a biased commentator.
Yeah. Bit of outside factoring in there, so very much welcome in the chat, Alex. So, yeah, fingers crossed we'll see you again very soon. Today's a day for the other drivers to stake their claim and say, yeah, this championship won't go out with whimper. I'm going to try my very best to make myself known. That it's not the Alex Lowe show every single week.
Well, it can't be because he's not here. We talk about it so much and he's not here because of the massive 73-point lead that he's built up from, or was it 9 wins that he's taken so far this season? Only about, I think there's only 4 times this season that he hasn't won, which puts it into perspective. Those times being, of course,
8 wins,
yeah, 8. There we go. I gave him an extra win, so there you go. By the way, speaking of the team's championship, there's actually a very close fight for 4th, which we might want to just keep one little eye on. We've got Bodor Racing Team holding that P4, 171 points to their name. They've got 2 point scoring cars at the moment, crucially, in a lot of rounds. I think ever since race 2 in Saudi Arabia, last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds in a row, they've had both cars in the points, which is quite impressive. And then just about 5 points behind them, we have KKR and Emerald Hummingbird tied for P5 on 166 points each. So, of course, Emerald Hummingbird on pole position. Lucas Farland is up there in the top 3 as well. And then Bodor with both cars in the top 10. That could be very, very interesting to see which of those 3 is going to emerge from this round in P4, of course. And then let's not forget, just within about 50 points behind them is Overpower, of course, with Scott Flack hoping to score well today as well. So we've got a lot of teams with pretty competitive drivers then, that even with Alex Lowe not in the field, the talent, it's not like we've got a suddenly depleted field of talent. Everyone else has stepped up to the plate very much. So that is really heartening to see, of course. Strength in depth in the FS1 field.
Yeah, that's what makes GPVWC very, very enticing league to watch, whether it is the ultimate classes, the Super Lights or Super League, the cream of the crop there. Of course, FS1 and FS2. If you can graduate from Academy, this is definitely a very thrilling place to be. As drivers start to find their feet in the series of open wheel racing cars. So yeah, this is definitely a chance to see our quality of representatives behind the wheel tonight, and of course the team managers hoping to see their car cross the line P1 and maybe even get a reverse grid draw, a little bit of extra publicity if you can win that reverse grid draw.
Yeah, it's also interesting, by the way, that speaking of the ladder, I talked to some of the FS2 drivers, including my own, and some of them had said, I kind of prefer the FS1 car, and I wonder, it may just be sort of the handling characteristics as well, and sort of it's a slightly longer wheelbase car, of course, and it's a little bit more powerful as well, if I'm not mistaken, hence the slightly better lap times that you tend to see across the board. So yeah, it's just interesting. Maybe it's a sort of, you put sometimes the drivers, you put them in the academy of the FS2 cars and they don't enjoy so much. You put them suddenly in a faster car and they come alive. So yeah, I think there are some drivers though that no matter what you put them in, they tend to be quick. And for a lot of our front runners, that is definitely the case. But anyway, we've got just over a minute left of this practice session then, so it's going to be really, really interesting. Of course, as you say, the time management not such a big factor here, so you would think a lot of drivers would start on the softs and then switch to the mediums as and when it suits them. Then there could be a fair bit of undercutting in this feature racing.
Yeah, the pit lane around Imola, excuse me, is extremely long compared to a lot of others this season. So
getting confused with real life.
Yeah,
at the Monaco Grand Prix lately.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Monaco Grand Prix there. So yeah, pit lane here, very, very long. So you don't want to be in an empty part of the track necessarily. You're stuck by yourself. So if you can, outsmart someone that you're right behind, go into the pits, and then get the empty space after you pit rather than before you pit. That should give you the best opportunity to perform that undercut. So yeah, it's definitely a trick that can be difficult to withstand if you're the car ahead who's hoping to go a bit longer into the race. So yeah, definitely they've got to be confident in their strategy, because if anything takes you off that path, the pit lane being so lengthy, then you're going to be in real trouble.
We're going to check a flag out for free practice then, or the warm-up I should say. But yeah, I was just thinking about the potential cars, P11, P12, obviously both outside the top 10 here. So what do you think they're going to do here? Are they going to split the strategies, or are they going to put Omari Watson and Jack Mayer on the same strategy and try and have both drivers work together to gain places here? Because they sort of very much start this one on the back foot, whereas Patrick Rozak on pole position, he's looking very, very good. And Frank Hamming in a sort of similar position, only just inside the top 10, of course, though Frank Hamming, we know from the past, is very good at gaining places in the early running.
Yeah, it is a dilemma, all right. I suppose it perhaps driver one maybe thinks of their strategy, and then the second driver might have a say and put themselves in an alternate strategy. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. I'd say who wants to pick a routine strategy, then who wants to go against it and try and take a risk around here. So I suppose the main point is they just want to get the first few laps clean. If they have to go aggressive on circuit and make overtakes, then yeah, get them done from lap 2 onwards, but stay safe at the beginning and hope that there's no danger in the first couple of corners that could take you completely out of the race, and therefore any strategy would be completely useless.
There's one of the Alfa Sierra cars. It looks like he was going downhill towards Toaster. That looks like Dominic Kurashavin's car, which I believe is the one that Bernat is in at the moment. There we go. Bernat came back to the pits then. So it was Victor Bernat, who I think I made the unfortunate Bernat burnout joke at Sepang when he retired in the pit entry, which is certainly not a moment that Victor will want to be reminded of. But yeah, certainly Alfa Sierra have got James Rokai starting inside the point, so he will certainly be one just to keep a little eye out on. But you can say that for so many drivers in the field as well. All of them with a little bit of something to prove then, and a good 28 of them are ready to take the start. So that's all except Excelian then. And before we take that start, let's go to the bumper before the start of the race. So here we are then. It's time for the return of Formula Sprint 1 after the spring break. Autodromo, Enzo E. Dino Ferrari about to come alive with the sound of 28 Formula Sprint 1 cars as the grid populates in front of us. And a big opportunity for a lot of the field, but especially for Patrick Rozak. We announced him taking his first win on the road at Bahrain. He got it controversially taken away from him after the race. And Rozak, of course, with a great chance to be win for the first time for the second time, if that makes sense. As confusing as that may be. But yeah, first of course, the formation lap, which gives us a fantastic chance, Eoin Harmon, then to go through the entirety of the grid ahead of our start then. So let's remind ourselves, it is Patrick Rozak and Michael Francesconi who make up the front row, with Lucas Filin and Antonio Haraljanovic on row 2. Row 3, Scott Flack ahead of Philip Savinsky in his best qualifying to date. Alexander Gonzalez-Green and Menno Klont make up row 4. On row 5, we have our third place man in the standings, Frank Hamming, with James Juba for company. Then on row 6, it's all potentially Jack Mayer and Omari Watson, both looking to make up ground after a disappointing qualifying. James Rokai starts P13 for Alpha Sierra. Joining him in row 7 is Alexander Ragotza. Row 8, Oliver Hargatar in his return, just ahead of Ricardo Bissani on making his debut for the first time this season. Wopke Hoekstra and Roman van Sust make up row 9. Rounding out the top 20 on row 10, it's Philip Koenig and Massimiliano Riboli. On row 11, we have Victor Bernat, joined by Craig Patterson. Michal Galka and Micah Luvink join up on row 12. Row 13 is Matthias Gazowski, the pole, just ahead of Pablo Serrano. Then on row 14, we have Che Hatch with Wesley Stefano making up 28th and last position on the grid. So, just the final sector left to negotiate. It's a fairly swift formation lap here. Patrick Rozak not hanging around, but yeah, certainly this is a tricky circuit to overtake on, and a lot of drivers with some work to do here. But those at the front with a big, big opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely the truth there, Ed. So Rozak with this pole position in hand, he's got to make it count as best as he can, because he knows Francesconi, he wants to win on home soil. Thailand loves it around here. Karel Janovic is excited to be back in GPVWC. Scott Flack, as we know, he's always competitive. And Servinski as well, P6, he knows Cap Clay are capable of great things. It's just not been their first third of the season to this point. So the top 6 are all very exciting to watch, and that doesn't dismiss, of course, Gonzalez Green, Clont, Hamming, Juba, or the Potentias. But we do have Stefano emerging from pit lane, so that means he has a pit lane start, and he must serve.
There we go. So Stefano hoping to avoid the chaos about to unfold here. There we go. Lights about to switch off, and when they do, the feature race will be underway here at Imola then. And it is Patrick Rozak that makes a clear break for it. You can see in the background Francesconi trying to tuck into the slipstream. It's a long run into the Tamburello chicane. Francesconi puts himself to the outside as Gonzalez Green is going side by side with Savinski in this fight for P6. Everybody going side by side, but everyone negotiates the first chicane smoothly. There we go. That is, you don't always see that, as you see, that is Frank Hamming, who's gotten up to P7 ahead of Savinski. So a brilliant launch for Frank Hamming, but his teammate not able to get up into the lead. There's a Gallery 82 of Galka in the gravel, and oh dear, the MS Performance there. That was Van Sust, I think, that's gone off at Tosa, and he's lost a load of positions. So now we've got both MS Performance cars right at the back.
Heartbreaking to see there, but the job is certainly still possible. Long way to go. Savinski's just in the wake here of Jack Mayer, so positive start there for Mayer. That's what needs to be done. Take only the minimum risks on the first lap, just to make sure your car is nice and clean. But a fabulous start there for Mayer, and that will help him along his way. Amari Watson, though, still stuck outside the top 10. But Gonzalez Green on camera right now. He's going to give Antonio what's for here, as we have our first lap complete, and it's still Patrick Rozak in the lead.
Yeah, and you saw Filip Savinski losing out with that battle with Gonzalez Green into the first chicane there. That meant Hamming and Mayer also took the opportunity to pick him off then. First lap completed, 30 to go, and Savinski is trying to fight back against Jack Mayer, the man second in the championship, and pulls across to the outside there. So good top speed then from the Scuderia Cap Clay, and Jack Mayer deciding to survive and live to fight another day there. But this is not the sort of obstacle that he would have been expecting there. Menno Clont, of course, fighting away with James Juba in the background there. But Mayer would have been hoping to move forward in this race and challenging the front runners to keep that podium streak going, not being shuffled back through the pack then. So he's got to make sure he sticks with Savinski as close as he can. As, oh dear, Van Sust is well and truly out of the race. He's had a huge crash at Villeneuve.
Absolutely. The front left suspension went absolutely flying. I hate to say
hit the back of Galka. Oh dear, please don't tell me the teammates came together. Stefano behind. Oh no, it was in front. Serrano lost it.
Yeah,
and Van Sust, while swerving to avoid, hit the wall. And I think also, Stefano got caught up in that as well. But it was Serrano. There we go. It was just taking too much speed, hit the grass, and chaos for everyone behind. Galka as well, also hitting the wall in avoidance.
Definitely a big hit there. So Galka will be grateful that his car absorbed some of the hit. But Tylee, here he goes around the outside. But Francesconi blocks the first approach there to Tamburello, and on the exit, he's got great draft here, and he could threaten into Variante Villeneuve. No, he's just going to stay behind. It's not really an overtaking corner most of the time. Yeah, that's a signal of intent from Thailand, and that helps Patrick Roszak pull 1.4 seconds clear.
Yeah, you saw Francesconi taking a quite defensive line through Traguda and Tamburello there. Made sure he went a bit longer into the corner and then had to sort of collect it up on the exit there, but that made sure there was no opportunity for the KKR of filing to steal away that second position then. Of course, it means he's fallen out of DRS range of Roszak now. Roszak looking very calm, cool, and in command here at Imola. You also see Scott Flack slowly now catching up to the back of Filin. He himself is doing a great job holding off Hruljanovic in that P4 battle, and then Gonzalez, Green, and Hamming not far behind either. Looks like Jack Mayer on the hards. That explains why Zawinski was able to clear him so quickly then. It's still not, I think Hamming is on the softs. I do think he was. So yeah, we got Mayer, Juba, and Watson, who's just been overtaken by Rokai, who's having a good start here. They are all three of them on the hards then. As we see now, Watson using the DRS to get back on terms, but he's got Ragozza going 3 wide, and Watson decides to back out of it, which creates an opportunity there for Busani to pick him off as well, and Rokai really under attack and having to go through the gravel there. That gives up to Ragozza, and Rokai hits Busani and loses his front wing, and it's all fallen apart in just one moment of disaster there for James Rokai. And you've got to feel for him there, because the race was all going to plan up until that moment. And now Watson's got the other Alpha Sierra. Is that just attacking him, or is that a Reaper? No, it is the other Alpha Sierra of Victor Burnett, of course. Yeah. Just giving him a hard time there.
Now, Potentia have not gone for the split strategy. They've experimented by going on the medium compound, which is the harder of the two compounds available. So yeah, that's what they're opting to do. So they're willing to go very long into this first stint in the hopes of picking up places towards the end with the softer tyre switch. Menno Clant will be aware of what just happened behind him, and he'll say, yeah, I've got to be very clinical with this overtake if I can. But of course, the battle behind him is heating up as well. It's Juba in the bottle, and Ragozza fighting very hard. So there's Bernat now, Thailand fastest lap. So big queue behind Amari Watson. It's definitely increasing in size, so the pressure for Amari is going to be relentless.
Yeah, he's just going to be under attack. It almost feels a bit like Watson is trying to defend and hold up these drivers for his teammate there, as we see Menacont has overtaken Jack Mayer, and Burnett nearly doing the same to Mayer's teammate Amari Watson then through the first chicane. He's going to have a good run here into Villeneuve. Watson knows it, immediately blocks the inside. You can tell that the harder tyre is just giving a little bit less grip. It's a bit hard to warm up here, I suspect. Maybe the colder temperatures are catching out some of the hard tyre runners here.
A bit of a cautionary tale here to have these hard tyre runners a little bit off the pace at the moment, but when their time comes, then they'll know it has to be absolutely faultless driving. So Jack Mayer down to P12 now. The caution for him now is just waiting to see what happens behind him, because Busani took that, absorbed the blow off the Alpha Sierra, and he's still going, so he's perfectly okay. So he'll want to see if Mayer picks up the pace a bit, but now it is Ragozza's job to fend off the pressure.
Ragozza is going to try and pick off Juba here, Eoin, because Juba is the leading runner on the hard tyres there. Filan, by the way, has just gotten through on Francesconi. I think we might have missed that. Filan with a brilliant final sector there. So DRS clearly coming into play, and that's going to be the same for Jack Mayer here as he closes in. Zawinski. He's got past Horanovic, who has also hit trouble. You can see Juba is almost a sitting duck here with no DRS. Through goes the 0-1 of Ragozza, the black and green car, but Mayer stuck behind then, so him and Juba, it's going to have to be a risky move for Mayer, and he's swerving around, but there's no way through into Villeneuve, surely. Juba has got him covered, so now Busani closing in on his soft tyres, goes a little wide out of Villeneuve, and that could allow Philip Koenig to come into play in the second of our Team Iris cars. But it looks like two things have happened here. Filan has got past Francesconi, and Antonio Hruljanovic has made a mistake and fallen to P8 behind Zawinski.
It's a great shame for Antonio Hruljanovic. So they'll have to be put behind him straight away and make sure he can fight back with even greater pace. So the job will be to keep up with Filip Czerwinski for the next couple of laps. And then whatever happens from this point on. Just make sure those tyres are in good condition for when it really comes to the balancing act. Oh, a bit of a slide maybe from Czerwinski there. We'll see as across the line what the split times were. Actually, no, Filip was quicker, so maybe just a control
risks. Yeah,
more of a risk than having.
Here we go.
On the inside.
Gonzalez Green looked like he was standing still there. Such was the run that Hamming had and the assistance of the DRS there. So Gonzalez Green then, he isn't really fighting Hamming for the Drivers' Championship. Bodal, I think, are more focused on the teams at the moment, and they've split the strategy of both their cars. Jack Mayer continuing to be under attack. Busani, just backs out on the inside there of a move into Villeneuve. Busani looking really squirrely here. So he's got nothing to lose, of course, whereas Jack Mayer has got everything to lose with that second place in the championship up for grabs here, especially with Rozak doing so well. So he cannot afford to tangle with Busani here, but Busani can afford to give him a lot of trouble.
Of course, yeah, the pressure is on to make sure you can balance the needs of the right now with the championship. So you've got to stay clean, but not too polite either. Busani's going to do everything he can here to make this a clear threat on the championship contender, knowing what it means to Alex Laho, who's watching on today. Here we go. You see now the pace is definitely in Mayer's favour in the middle sector. Busani was quicker in the first, so it's equalised before DRS is now in play down the start-finish straight. There we go. Lap 8 is already underway here.
Yeah, Gonzalez Green has, by the way, immediately repassed Frank Hamming, and Francesconi's done the same to Filin then. So it's a bit of a DRS back and forth. Busani, though, ran the outside of Jack Mayer then to get into P12, and now James Juba separating him from P11 then. So Mayer just continuing to fall back on the hards, and it is just a bit of a waiting game, but the lap times, it's still not coming to the hard tyre runners 8 laps in then. So you were right about the tyre wear. The softs may run really, really long before pitting late on for the hards, whereas those on the hards at the minute have got to find a gap to pit into effectively and maybe go to the softs a bit earlier than you would normally do. Francesconi, though, having got past Filin, is setting personal best and purple times to try and break away in the first and middle sectors there. So Filin really starting to keep in touch, and he's got Scott Flack who's kept with him as well. They both dropped Hamming, who of course is busy battling with Gonzalez Green over P5 then. So you've got to say, Scott Flack yet to take a podium this season. Both Francesconi, Rozak and Filin already have. So Flack, with something to prove here, could maybe pounce if Filin falters at this point in the race.
Yeah, the home turf was a terrible curse on Scott Flack this season, with no points scored and a DNF in the reverse grid race. But ever since then, he has been collecting a point or more every single round. It was just the 15th in the Canadian race. He got the point the last second as Riboli helped him on his way after the tyre strategy, I don't think, went his way. Oh, bit of kick up of gravel there. Change of position. Tylene's down. Tylene's down to 4th. So great move here for Scott Flack. I'm not sure how that happened.
I think Filin dipped a wheel into the gravel and went wide out of Villeneuve there. So yeah, Scott Flack sort of disgracefully took up the position. Let's see what happened.
I could just tell from the camera shot something was brought up by the gravel trap. And there's the proof in the pudding. And Scott Flack was ready to go. He wasn't too late on the reactions. He was spot on there. He saw straight away that Tylene needed to rejoin the course. He went to the middle of the track and ran it around the outside of Tosa. Brilliant move.
Well, also there was a good sportsmanship from Lucas Filin, because in that situation you can immediately panic and go over to defend your line, but the overspeed that Flack had meant that it really wasn't sensible to do that. So Lucas Filin, rather than throwing his toys out the pram, actually kept his cool there, and he's still in P4 as a result, rather than having Scott Flack clatter into the back of him because he panicked and swerved across the track at short notice. But now Hamming starting to get really fed up with Gonzalez Green, retakes him around the outside, and now will hope to escape from the Bodal man. So the American giving him a bit of trouble in this early part of the race, as we see Ragozza, interestingly, is the one lighting up the final sector. He's been pumping in the purple times, isn't he, Rigota? And they're getting closer and closer to the back of Hrajanovic in that P8 battle. 3 seconds, the current gap, as we look at Hamming. Now looking to, he's a little bit closer, of course, now to the back of Phylan ahead of him. So that will help his charge just a little bit here, because Phylan seems to have really fallen a couple of tenths off the back of Scott Flack on this particular lap. So Hamming now has got DRS to use. Now that he's ahead, as he, oh, absolutely. He's got a very pointy front end on that HGP, isn't it? Because it was turning in before he realised there, and he just about uses some car control to save it, but that will have excited the eyes of Gonzalez Green here. So lots of risk being taken for Hamming, and they're not paying out.
I'll tell you, this will be a scruffy end to the lap here for Hamming, and Gonzalez Green will sense the opportunity. He knew it was better that Hamming had the better entry into Tamburello, so he pulled out with that one. But the chance to repay the favour is coming now for the American driver, ready to pull into the slipstream, go down the inside. Hamming has done, yeah, he's done the exact same thing. So yeah, we've had a proper trade of places in the last 2 laps between these drivers. So Gonzalez Green is restored as the 5th place driver.
They keep fighting like this. Savinsky is going to join it. You can see that red cap clay looming into the rearview mirrors as well. But yeah, Gonzalez Green, who hoped to do now what Hamming failed to do and close into the back of Phylan. Of course, the thing is, they're not actually losing all that much time using DRS deposits because they're not holding each other up. You saw Hamming left the door open on the inside because he knew it wasn't really worth defending then. And maybe there's a bit of Frank Hamming that is thinking about the long game here, about keeping his tyres alive later in the race, and also, more importantly, about the championship as old Gonzalez Green messes up Aqua Minerale himself, and that's going to let Hamming through before they even get to the DRS zone. And now it is Philip Savinsky that is giving Gonzalez Green a lot of trouble as they attack the curbs with a lot of vigor there, and actually Savinsky loses a bit of momentum as a consequence. So Gonzalez Green only losing 1 position there, could have been a lot worse.
Of course, yeah, that could have gone badly wrong. Minerale knows how to spin cars around where it certainly can. Savinsky lost that opportunity to be right on the gearbox that lap, but if anything, Thailand has responded with a purple 3rd sector, so he's still in range of Scott Flack, not quite in the correct interval for DRS. So Thailand very quick on his own, and now another trading of the place. Gonzalez Green a little bit awry into that 2nd apex, but he's held on. He's back to P5. And this is a stunning race for the P5 position, and Savinsky would love to get involved. But as of right now, it's an exclusive trade between Gonzalez Green and Hamming.
Meanwhile, by the way, the hard tyre runners are finally starting to show some decent pace. James Juber setting personal best laps, 1:24.2, so that's about 4 tenths quicker than our race leader, of course. But we, of course, got Francesconi and Flack in the 1:23.9, so about 3 tenths quicker than him. Jack Mayer as well has just passed Riccardo Pisani to get back into P12 here. So yeah, it's they're finally showing some pace. Unfortunately for poor Omari Watson, he is behind Hargitay and Che Hatch, who are both on the hard tyres now. So Watson is the big loser in this first stint of the race. Oh dear, and there's an overpower on the wall. That's Scott Flack. Oh, the bad luck continues. Flack has lost his front wing. Clearly something has gone very badly wrong at the curbs at Variante Alta, and Scott Flack is going to have to come into the pits to put a new one on. What on earth happened here?
It's a mystery. He's by himself into Variante Alta. First apex is okay, but the second he slipped on the curb on the outside.
I think the rear right hit the gravel there.
Must have hit the gravel all right, yeah.
Just the loss of traction has really caught him out quite badly there. And yeah, he's certainly not the only one that's made mistakes in this feature race, but that's a very costly one for Scott Flack because he was running P3. There was a great chance of a podium there. That's giving it right back to Phylan. So Phylan will be breathing a sigh of relief after his mistake earlier. But of course, Scott Flack into the pits, and it looks like Riccardo Pisani has also come in. Although I'm not sure if that's to get rid of the softs and put the hards on, or if he's hit trouble too. But yeah, I think Pisani having a shorter stop and being released first. So Pisani, first of our actual pit stops, I think, in this race.
Yeah, interesting call to pit even before halfway. If it suits him to take the tyres to the end, then yeah, I'll give him his flowers for that if it actually pays off. And Savinsky, now that he's got P6, with the opportunity to get to Hamming a little bit closer this time. Looking at the splits, he's a little bit off in the middle sector, but he's quicker in the first. So there we go. This Scuderia Cup play is behaving itself to this point, and Cervinski is doing everything in his power to make this a thrilling contest with 3 cars just off the podium at the moment, 4th through 6th.
Of course, that's moved them all up a place. Oh, 2 more pit stops. Antonio Radjanovic and Alexander Ragotza come into the pit lane then. So they're surely putting on their hards as well. And they've got a nice big gap to come into in between. They should come out somewhere in between Patterson and, you'd think, ahead of Bassani, I think.
Yeah, should do. About the right time just to get that empty space after the pit stop, which will help you with your outlap massively, just to get those tires up to temperature. There's no threat in behind, if of course you don't count the 0-1 there himself. So good job for the crews. Ragoza just in behind Harel Janovic at the moment, so they have the freedom of the first sector as of right now. You see the Rorschach is just chugging along nicely, 3 seconds lead as of right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the other soft tire runners in the top 10 do in response. Like Menno Klont was directly in competition with these two, so that's going to be really, really fascinating. But yeah, the hard tire runners, the pace has started to stabilize just a little bit. 1:24.7 for Juba last lap around. He's about 7 seconds behind Zawinski and only 6/10 ahead of Menno. So Menno still might want to get out of that because he's getting the DRS from Juba. He might want to stay a few laps longer, see if he can maybe overcut to get ahead of Haranovic. Harold Janovic, sorry.
It takes a bit of while, but anyway, Gonzalez Green, he's got his latest taste of passing Hamming. It's been about 4 times.
It feels like a dance routine between these two, isn't it? It's the hokey cokey. Yeah. You do hokey cokey and you turn around and you open the DRS, and that's what it's all about.
It is. But we've 4 cars in the pits all at the same time, and it includes Amari Watson, so he's fed up of those hard tires. He wants them off.
True, of course, Menno Klont also in the pits, but that is not surprising given Omari Watson clearly hates those hards and he's willing to gamble on the softs then at half distance. But he might have to nurse them to get to the end then, as we see Klont, Koenig, Watson and Riboli leaving the pits in that order then. But yeah, Alexander Gonzalez Green. It's interesting now, 1.8 seconds between Gonzalez Green and Phylan. So Phylan is still about 3 seconds behind Francesconi. He's not really... his pace actually lost around 1:24.3, so Phylan is actually one of the faster drivers in the top 6 at the moment then. Second fastest, I think, really only behind Hamming and Rozak, so that'd be 3rd fastest on the last lap round. But either way then, Gonzalez Green not quite close enough to get the DRS, and will, as we see Francesconi coming in, so HDP pull the trigger, and this is to put pressure on Rozak then.
Yeah, this is the undercut attempts that we discussed in the build-up. If you have the freedom in front of you, it's not ideal, but definitely with that gap, it was already sizable enough. Rorschach has built up a great lead for himself, so Francesconi confident the filtering behind will be a-okay. Jack Mayer also ready for soft tires. He'll rejoin there, and he'll allow Gazowski to take to his pit box. No harm, no foul there, but Victor Bernat here, this is very good news for him. He's staying nice and close to the FS1 champion of 2023. That will give him a nice boost of confidence. But of course, here we go. You can see in the background, Menno Klont is coming. He's served his pit stop, but I'm afraid he has been outclassed here in the pit stop strategy at least. But of course, Klont will have very, very toasty tires, and he's going to fight immediately with Victor Bernat.
Yeah, of course. Bernat and Klont on, I believe, the same strategy, so I think they have just pit from softs to the harder medium compound, whereas Jack Mayer now finally gets a chance on the soft sense. This is a crucial part of the race for him, but he, of course, stuck behind Ragotza and Hail Janovic, of course, who pit a few laps earlier to go from softs to hards then. So we now see responses. It looks like Phylan has come into the lead to pit from P3, and Zawinski has followed him too.
So important pit stops yet again. So Zawinski is away from his best seat in the house, watching Gonzalez Green and Hamming's dance routine. They're staying out a bit longer. Tylene has to watch very carefully with Francesconi on the way. Here we go. Should be close. Ano moves ahead. Francesconi is already ahead, so great undercut play from Francesconi. Keeps a nice healthy gap to Tylene.
And he's got Craig Patterson, who's yet to pit off the hards, in between them as well. So that's another thing that Fabian did not want to have to deal with. But that is the situation he has found himself in. And crucially, of course, you can see the gap to... he's about 3 seconds ahead of Harijanovic. So he had to pit when he did, because otherwise Antonio was going to get in his pit window there.
Right you are, yeah. Just got to make sure that pit window is nice and secure. Jack Mayer got a purple middle sector just a while ago, but Menno Clant. Second attempt, he hit some of the grass there on the entry to Tosa. Thankfully the car gripped the circuit tarmac appropriately, but the gap behind him to Koenig is minuscule. So a great opportunity for Philip Koenig to back up his teammate for the evening. And the leader pits, Patrick Roszak, has responded. He's into the pits, and Frank Hamming has also entered for his tyre change. So Gonzalez Green will briefly inherit the lead. James Zuba will certainly give Boddle a bit of data to help out Alex.
And Juba, of course, is another driver going hard to soft here. So this will be a really important stint for him, because he needs to make sure he's still ahead of Jack Mayer if that's possible. But Mayer, as you say, pumping in the purple sectors, he's got a great chance to undercut him, essentially.
Agatai as well for KKR. He's waiting for his chance to exit the pits with his new tyres. Tylene settles into fifth, but of course Craig Patterson in fourth place for Gallery 82. He has yet to pit, so it's not a big gain up the road for Craig. Oh, that's risky. I could tell everything Lucas needs to know about this journey on the harder compound tyres, the medium yellows. They're giving up the ghost a little bit for Craig at the moment, so it could be the Prey is vulnerable and Tylene will want to strike.
Interesting that Gonzalez Green has stayed out as long as he has on the softs. Then maybe he feels that's the better tyre for him than the hards, so he's leaving it as late as he can before switching here. But of course that gives him a 4-second lead over Roszak. They could have Gonzalez Green go a bit longer to hold up Roszak, but I don't think he's going to do them a whole lot of good. But nonetheless, good to see Alexander back in the lead of an FS1 race. He's certainly been having a lot of highs this season. A couple of races where qualifying's not gone as well, but his form is after having a difficult middle part of the season, his form has started to regroup a little bit. He was of course in the top 5 in the reverse grid at Canada as well, because I think Gonzalez Green had to miss Sepang, didn't he? So
yes,
yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
He is will be enjoying this at the present moment. In fact, he's not forcing it. He's 20 seconds ahead. I've miscalculated that completely because how short the pit stop is. Patterson has finally pit out of the way as Jack Mayer now sets the fastest lap of the race, and as you can see, he's 1.6 seconds ahead of James Juba then. So Mayer has played the undercut to perfection, and it's just a matter of is he going to have enough life in these softs at the end to hold back Juba, and crucially, even more than that, to pick off Ragotza, Zavinsky and Haranovic just ahead of it.
Job to be done just ahead there. So Stravinsky continuing his ambition here, just behind Harijanovic at the moment, keeping nice and tight. But Ragoza, has to be said, this is a very gutsy drive from him. He has been consistently fighting for these reasonable points, so it's not a case of 0-1 needing to fight back from the depths. Ragoza has been quick all day, and this is a justified P8 at the moment. It's all about Gonzalez Green, though. He decides to come into the pits, so he'll be able to push extremely on those hard tyres once he's back out on the circuit. Roszak regains his lead, Francesconi keeping him honest, but definitely a great game for Patrick that last lap. Half a second in the green there compared to Michael. And Gonzalez Green versus Hamming, the sequel, and its advantage to the American.
There we go. So despite pitting earlier, the undercut not working in Frank Hamming's favour then. So Gonzalez Green just felt more confident on the softs then and wanted to extend that stint. And that has been proved to be the right call then. So the problem is, it's only got him just ahead. So Frank Hamming is still within DRS range. So we're going to see very much a rerun, albeit with Antonio Harijanovic and Filip Zavinsky almost within touching distance behind them as well. So the cost of slipping up here is even more, because not only are they now fighting for P4 instead of P5, but they've got more company behind.
Yeah, of course. So that's the struggle here. Janovic delighted to bring that car to even greater heights, but Hamming, this middle sector looks very impressive. As of course, Gonzalez Green needs to get the heat into his tyres. Hamming doing whatever he can here just to distract the bottle driver. Oh, there's trouble for Bassani, perhaps. Yeah, Bassani's tumbling down the order. That could be a spin. Yeah, it is a spin. So he's going to lose out on his top 20. But he has hopefully a bit of time to make it back, as Che Hatch, of course, is P15 at the moment in a race that will not go down as one to remember here for Q Performance.
Ooh,
and
Hamming
is
moves.
through.
There we go. Hamming making the move exact same time as Zawinski passes Karel Janovic. So while that's going on, Mayer and Juba are all trading purple sectors on the soft tyre then. 122.950 for Mayer, 122.931 for Juba then. So James is seeing what Joe Mayer is doing, and he's got a couple laps fresher tyres as well. So Juba will be waiting to pounce then the moment that Mayer starts getting held up by Ragozza and the pack in front of them.
Philip Koenig was 16th, now he's 19th. That must have been the cause of that most recent yellow. So that's a great shame. He's recovered though, trying to defend against Wesley Stefano, and he has done it for the time being. But yeah, something has happened to Philip, which is horribly unlucky. Oh, that was a vicious from Wesley, and he has forced Philip wide, and Scott Flack will be absolutely chuffed with that. It's 2 free positions, but Stefano has claimed the right to the position for now. Yeah, that'll definitely infuriate Philip. He had no real knowledge that was going to happen, and thankfully at least they both rejoined on after the gravel trap.
Well, let's see how this happened then. So that is, I believe, Watson passing Koenig. Into Tamburello they come. Is there a bit of contact? There we go. So just not enough space between the two cars. Difficult to really call that one from the outside there. Koenig is going to feel quite hard done by, especially as this is just before he also gets tapped in the rear, as you say, by Wesley Stefano as well. So a lot of our wounded warriors in this race falling into repeat incidents, and you can see Stefano just gets a little too close coming into Piratella. Gets up the inside. That move was never really on, I'm afraid, for Wesley.
Yeah, I said in the build-up, Piratella, you said it's such a difficult corner, Ed. Certainly on high speed after Tosa, you build up the gears and get going, but yeah, not an overtaking point. Most often, as you see, more grass and
that was one of the potentials.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Watson because he's behind. Oh no, it does look like Jack Mayer not having a great time out there, but he is 2.5 seconds behind Karel Janovic, and Juba matching his times at the moment, but Juba actually going about 4 tenths quicker in the middle sector there, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mayer that we saw just kicking up a bit of dust at Aquaminarari as he pushes the track limits to try and get as much time as he can out of these soft tyres, as we see yellow in the final sector. So somebody further back has hit trouble. It's Craig Patterson who's lost his front wing, and somebody else, was that 2 front wings or just the 1 front wing going all over the place? But yeah, Craig Patterson, his race has come to a screeching halt, and unfortunately I think Craig has maybe made contact with the wall somewhere.
He's watching one of the Hugh performances, so yeah, he attacked the first curve.
Oh, he's facing the wrong way, so somebody's hit him.
Oh, Philip.
Oh, that's more poor bad luck for Philip Koenig. It's all gone wrong at once for poor Philip, hasn't it? So yeah, while his teammate is in P8, Philip Koenig has had really no luck on his side whatsoever.
Yeah, you can see there's very little he could do. I know.
Well,
you have to slow down even more. Yeah, the second corner you have to already slow down significantly. Yeah, car just naturally go out to the outside.
It was either going the gravel or hit him there. So not a fun situation whatsoever. I'll tell you who is having fun. Patrick Rozak, 4 seconds in the lead now ahead of Francesconi. He's been really just managing things incredibly well at the front, and the battling has all been behind, essentially. Essentially, it's all been P4 downwards. There's been this huge fight going on. You can see there, Mayer and Juba now right upon this battle here. And Juba's got a great run on Jack Mayer, but Harald Janovic is going to have to move right to the right-hand side and let both of them through at the same time. So there we go. There was no stopping him, and Antonio thought, right, I'm going to stay well out of the way of this one.
Holy, that was intense, but thankfully all those drivers are still fighting fit and ready to wrap up this race in a little while. Jack Mayer, this is important for him just to stay in reverse grid draw position, as James Juba got the fastest lap in all that remarkable battling. So yeah, that bottle is picking up pace for James, and that is a very pleasing sign here for the bottle team with Lorenzo Tervich-Funcic in the manager's hot seat. Yeah, to get a double top 10 with reverse grid draw permutations for James. That is very, very pleasing to see. But Jack Mayer wants even more from this race, and Ragosa, definitely a fighting champion tonight. He's got to hold on with everything he's got here for 0-1, and he'll see the former champion of FS1 coming in his mirrors very soon.
Yeah, of course, Ragosa's best finish of the season was P7 in the reverse grid race at Sepang. So he's had some real flashes. So much experience in super lights as well when he drove for Cal 82. But here comes Juba, another great run. Goes to the outside. There's a 0-1 in the way for Juba, though. That's surely going to prevent him going around the outside, but he's still going to try. Makes a bit of contact with Mayer. Mayer gets loose on the exit there. This is really tense. Neither of them really need this right now. They've only got 6 laps left in the race, and sure enough, Juba is forced to back up. Oh, Mayer's almost around there, and they're side by side. It's Juba to the outside. Mayer's not going to give up whatsoever, and Harald Janovic is being treated to an awesome fight right in front of him as Juba and Mayer nearly tangle wheels there through Tosa.
Well, this is intense now, and the fact that Mayer is feeling the pressure, the car just not responding to his inputs very well.
Look how much time they've lost to Ragosa in all of this.
It's insane, yeah. These tyres for Jack will be getting on a little bit. He's pitted reasonably early from the hards onto the softs. So, great strategy call for Bottle here, doing everything they can to stress out Jack Mayer, who's holding on with his ambitions to become a 2-time FS1 champion. You know, it's on the line tonight. If he can catch up to Alex Lahu, that'll be very important for him. Yellow flags in the middle sector, persistent, but we can't tell what for just yet. But yeah, James, he's encouraged by his pace that time, and he's going to try again, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he was trying to get through a little too quickly. Pulls the outside again. This time they haven't got a car in front of them, and it's much easier for Juba. There we go. Mayer forced reluctantly to back out, but you can tell no love lost between these two, and Jack Mayer is not going to be enjoying this one little bit. Now he's got to follow Juba. The Hunter has become the Hunter Ed, or the Ed Hunter, as I like to say. And now Ragosa, of course, 2 seconds up the road, could still be caught by Juba here. But yeah, I wonder if Juba, that these two might have lost a little bit less time had Juba not gone for the move the lap before. But that was still nonetheless a really good move around the outside from the Bodal Racing man. And yeah, Harald Janovic, of course, 7 seconds to Bernat, who is catching behind them, but not really quickly enough to be a major threat for the top 10 here. Che Hatch, by the way, we haven't talked about him much, but from, what was it, 23rd, 26th on the grid, he is in P12 ahead of Omari Watson and right behind Victor Bernat. All 3 of these drivers, I believe, on the same strategy, all on the soft tyre now.
Yeah, there we can tell it's a gain of 15 places. Yeah, pretty much the back of the grid for Che. And he has been the highest climber in this feature race so far. And Victor Bernat, he knows this is an incoming threat here from the English driver. James Juba, new fast lap for him, 122.8. So not too shabby compared to qualifying pace. And now the pressure may just relent for Che Hatch. He's going to be through on Victor Bernat. And then the reverb there of Omari Watson, thankfully for Victor's point of view, has been blocked, but that might not last much longer, Ed.
Yeah, you can tell Watson pit even the lap before Mayer, so he's got even more management to do. The softs is the problem. So, and not least, he's also got Oliver Hargitay to worry about. So we've got Omari versus Oliver and James versus Jack. So if you like people with similar first names, you're in for a treat, says Edward to Eoin. But there we go. The battle continuing then. And Purple's fastest lap race with Juba. Che Hatch has also set the fastest first sector of the race, unsurprisingly using the DRS in that move from the end of the previous lap, because it's such a long start and finish straight essentially. But Jack Mayer here now trying to follow Juba. Still even about 6/10 here. Rigotta has been lapping half a second slower than the pair of them. This lap though, Savinsky sets to 23.7, Rigotta 23.6, 23.2 for both Juba and Mayer. So the problem is Mayer is close enough for a move up the inside, and he's going to brake late enough to try it, but this time he thinks slightly better of it and backs out at the last moment there. So that was very, very close considering what happened earlier. And yeah, I think Mayer very keen to repay the favour on James Juba here.
Yeah, and Watson has made the overtake, some more Potentia action here. So a gain of a position for my Watson. That'll help him.
Problem for Watson is he's gotten back exactly where he qualified in P12.
Yeah.
So it's been a race of recovering to where he was rather than gaining ground so far for Omari.
And Hatch was fastest of everybody that last lap. He absolutely blazed it with a 1:22.447. And that'll mean he's beyond reach if that carries on. The freedom of Imola, certainly 7.5 seconds for Che behind Harel Janovic. That's just a little bit too much to ask without anything else interfering with that. So yeah, Che's peaking at reasonable time, but the top 10, barring any errors, should stay reasonably stable.
The problem for the soft runners is they've got a lot of pace, but they haven't got track position. And all the top 7 are currently on the conventional strategy, went soft to hards. And Juba has finally started to catch Rigotta, who's about 8/10 in front of him. But the problem is he's still got Mayer nipping at his heels, trying to basically just buzz around and make himself a nuisance, essentially, whenever the DRS opens. You can see there, Hamming still putting pressure upon Gonzalez Green. Gonzalez Green holding up well against it. Filen not quite able to fully escape either of them. And I think Filen pit fairly reasonably late, but not as late as Gonzalez Green. So Gonzalez Green is lapping about 2/10 quicker than Filen. But Hamming with the DRS is quicker than both of them. So it is kind of stalemate in this P3 battle.
Gonzalez Green has the fresher tyres by 2 laps in the lifespan there. So yeah, this will help Gonzalez Green maintain position if his lap times are on course. Hamming won't give up, of course. This is his chance to threaten for a great result for HGP, get as many points as they possibly can to make it far more interesting. Oh no, that's a big counter slide there. He held on.
Saved.
Very well saved, absolutely. So that will cost him the opportunity to get up to his dance partner, Gonzalez Green. So yeah, that's one less opportunity. So 2 to go for race leader Roshak. He has been commanding up until this point. Just needs to wrap it up and celebrate after many months of waiting since that first win was taken in the steward's room. He's got his chance to finally become an FS1 winner.
Indeed he does. But yeah, certainly Gonzalez Green is keen to get a new dance partner in the form of Lucas Filen, but he's only got another lap in which to to complete the move. So yeah, racing, much like dancing, there is a bit of a time limit as well. So while this is all going on, Rigotta doing very well to defend what would be an equal best result of the season, P7, against Juba and Mayer. So Juba and Mayer squabbling amongst themselves has played into Rigotta's hands here. You can see Savinsky as well is looking for P6 in, I believe this Phillips, one of his first appearances of the season. I'm not sure if it's his flat out debut.
In 2025 as sub role, so now it's his first appearance of this year.
First appearance of 26 then, yes, in FS1 then. So yeah, for Savinsky, if he can open his account in 26 in his substitute drive for Cap Clave with a P6, that would boost his standing, but Rigotta's dipped in the gravel at Rivazza, and Juba not quite able to cut him off, and that's going to open the door then for Jack Mayer as we start the final lap. Mayer pulls to the outside, but luckily for Juba, he's still getting the DRS and a lovely tow from Rigotta here. Will he catch Rigotta before they get to Tamburello? Juba to the outside. Jack Mayer tries to follow him. Mayer's almost alongside and he's in the gravel and he's not able to get through. And that really sums up Jack Mayer's race then. Constant continual frustration. Juba just dips through. So a crucial mistake for Rigotta costs him that P7.
It's an awful shame, and his chance to make up a place, it's going to be extremely long odds for him to do it.
Hargitai's made a mistake. He's dropped out the points near the back, so Gazowski and Menoclon into 14th and 15th.
It's a big swing. KKR will be gutted to lose a podium with one driver and to lose a point with their second car. Not the ending that would have been preferred there by Matthew McKinnon, but this is the chance of a lifetime for Patrick Rojak. He's waited so long for this, Ed. Take it away.
Here we go, out of the final corner, and this time surely it won't be taken away. He's 7 seconds ahead of Francesconi over the line for the feature race. It is Patrick Rojak who can finally call himself an FS1 race winner for Emerald Hummingbird. A huge achievement. Francesconi coming through now to take P2. Gonzalez Green steals the podium on the final lap away from Lucas Filin, who just holds off Frank Hamming there. So Alexander Gonzalez Green, after a long absence, returns to the podium and sets his personal best lap of the race on the final lap. So making great use of those hard tyres. It is going to be Filip Zawinski taking 6th on his first appearance of the season. Juba takes P7, Rigotta 8th, Mayer 9th, and Heljanovic will round out your top 10 ahead of Che Hatch. As Stefano trying to nip ahead of Hargitai, but Hargitai will hold on to P16, sadly just a second off Menoclon in the final points paying position there.
Raboli and Galka will cross the line to be our final classified finishers. They'll want to put this event behind them to prepare for the sprint race. Well, there we are, Ed. We've got a brand new winner in FS1. We're starting to see the Emerald Hummingbird team really take its name among the elites now. So brilliant drive from Patrick Rojak. He'll be so pleased with himself today.
And justifiably so. There you go. After 31 laps of racing, Patrick Rojak wins by 7 seconds ahead of Michael Francesconi. Alexander Gonzalez Green will take P3 with a late charge. Really strong result for the Bolger Racing team, it must be said. Lucas Filin misses out on the podium by 0.8 of a second in the end, with Frank Hamming in P5. So a great fight against Gonzalez Green, but it is the American that outsmarts him with the better strategy. Filip Zawinski, the pole really starring in this one to take P6. James Juba on the alternate strategy gets to P7 with a late pass due to Rigotta making a mistake there, and Jack Mayer, a lot of pace but frustration, not really able to make use of it, down in P9. And Heljanovic, impressive in qualifying, still just about held on to the top 10, so that's Team Iris's best result of the season. One of their better results of the season, I should say, with P10, because I think Tenlur did finish top 7 in Bahrain, didn't he? So Che Hatch from near the back of the grid, and was it P27, P26, takes P11 ahead of Omari Watson, who finishes exactly where he qualified, but that doesn't really tell the full story of his race. Lots of fighting for Omari in this one. Victor Bernat is P13 for Alpha Sierra, crucial points for them. Matis Gazowski also had a bad qualifying, but recovered to P14, and Menoclon took the final point for CM Tech Racing. So the conventional strategy working well for some, but not so well for others. Oliver Hargitai, a late error, puts him down to P16 out of the points, with Wesley Stefano just missing out in P17. Vopke Hoekstra was P18. Then it was the two overpowers. What could have been for Scott Flack with that mistake, crashing out whilst running in P3. He finishes P19 ahead of his teammate Massimiliano Riboli. Michel Galka, difficult race for Gal 82. He finishes as our final finisher in 21st. Ricardo Pisani failed to get to the end, as indeed did Craig Patterson, with a big accident with Philip Koenig, the two crashing into each other. James Rokai also failing to finish. Michael Luvink, who says in the chat, I literally couldn't attack anymore and was counter-steering every corner. So that explains his retirement from the race. Also, we lost in a big accident Roman Van Sust and Pablo Serrano, of course. A lot of our tail enders at the back of the field tripping over each other coming out of Temporello and into Villeneuve. So that's a big shame. They'll be hoping to do better come race 2. But yeah, certainly there was no doubt about who the winner was going to be, Owen, but a very entertaining battle behind for the final spot on the podium onwards. And now I guess we've got race 2 to look forward to. So let's go on a quick break, the other side of which we will see our 21-lap sprint race get underway here at Imola.
Inside a place of... On the next
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this is a carnage.
And Menocon's going to win.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Black slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, and round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3 wide. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh my goodness. The Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Hello and welcome back to Emilia Romagna and the Autodromo Enzo Idino Ferrari in Imola for the 7th round of the Formula Sprint 1 Championship in 2026. We've just had our race 1 where Patrick Rozak has finally, after many near misses, broken his duck and become a FS1 race winner after an absolutely spellbinding performance. And of course, Michael Francesconi and Alexander Gonzalez Green joining him on the podium. But Eoin, we've just had it revealed what the reverse grid number is. Of course, it's between 6 and 10, of course, which are the eligible drivers. What number has it been? Eoin? Are you there? Okay. I guess I'll just tell them then. Eoin is either having connection issues or feeling a bit shy. Or is this an issue on my end? So, and we're talking over each other.
Pardon me.
There we go. I can hear you.
Sorry
There
about
you go.
that. Yeah, so the reverse grid draw went Philip Servinski's way. So
There we go.
the minimum amount of flexibility in the draw. So that leaves everybody else wanting. But for Philip, that is a big Philip for his chances of winning.
Yeah, I've been waiting ages to say that, haven't you? But yeah, there you go, Philip Savinsky. Of course, this is first FS1 appearance of the season, and that's good news for Cap Clay. But of course, he'll have Frank Hamming alongside him on the front row, and then file in Gonzalez Green, Francesconi, and Rozak, our previous race winner. Of course, James Duber just missing out on the reverse grid draw, much to his frustration then, despite a pretty strong drive to P7 after having to get his elbows out against Jack Mayer. I guess he didn't have to, but he chose to, and it was very entertaining. But I don't think Jack Mayer would have appreciated it one bit. But nonetheless, it certainly puts us in, as you say, in an interesting situation. And of course, Drivers' Championship, Jack Mayer has closed, however many points to get for 9th position in feature race. That's only about, I would say, 10 points or so, maybe slightly less than that he's gained. So Jack Mayer is going to be closer to Alex Lowe by the end of this, but it could be that Rozak getting the full 30 points in that first race may well have done enough to jump him at the present moment. And more importance is the team's championship. So that run to P11 from Che Hatch may prove to be really, really crucial, given that Potentia got one car in 9th and the other car home in 12th then. So having one car in between might be just enough to keep them a couple of points ahead then going into this second race.
Every point counts, so that's what matters now for the team's championship. It is proving to be the one to watch if you're looking for 3 quality competitors in that one. So HGP getting a huge boost as well. That'll help their cause immeasurably. So that will be one that'll help their confidence no end. So that'll help with putting the pressure back on Hugh Performance and indeed Potentia, who know they didn't get the look of the draw this time. We're going to have to think of a new strategy because the harder compound into the softs did not pay off. If anything, yeah, you could definitely take a set of soft tires to the end if you're really, really gentle on them in the middle part of your stint.
I think a lot of people are going to try and go soft in the second race zone.
Yeah.
That would be my suspicion, because they seem to be just a much better, because the hards just took ages. You were sitting duck in the first 8 laps or so with the hard tire. They took quite a while to sort of get into a decent range of performance, essentially. So it's certainly, if you're near the back, the safer option to go for the hards, but I suspect a lot of our front runners will go for the softs and to try and defend track position at the end, essentially.
Of course, yeah. 21 laps. We saw Alex Gonzalez Green go an enormous distance on his original set of softs, so that is proof beyond reasonable doubt that the majority of front runners should definitely go softs without pitting and just conserve them when they show signs of wear and tear. Otherwise, yeah, it should be a case of who is quickest on the road should be able to settle and go for the win in this sprint race format.
But as we saw, track position, very, very important here. So that's going to be the dominant thing, whether Savinsky can hold on from Hamming at the start. We've seen Hamming really excel in these. Oh, it's filing. Does the traditional smoky bath car. It looks more like a bathtub than a car, the way he's wrecked it there, especially with the steam coming out of it. But yeah, there we go. Phylan, having missed out on the podium, will start once again sort of from, I believe, the top 3, top 4 in this one. So Phylan's got another chance. He's another driver that really tends to excel in the reverse grid encounters. KKR yet to take a win so far this season, but Phylan has only taken 1 podium, I believe, at the start of the season in Australia, if memory serves. Other than that, he's not had a whole lot of, like, a couple of 3 4th places essentially, and another 4th here as well. So he's taken 5 4th place finishes. Must be getting a bit frustrated with that. So Lucas Phylan will be another one to watch in this with a little bit of something to prove. And certainly him and Alex Laho had a few controversial collisions, didn't they? Saudi Arabia and the reverse grid race at Montreal come to mind as well. So
Yes, indeed.
where they were both handbags at dawn, blaming each other. Well, it was evening, but anyway, but either way. Yeah, there we go. So the grid will form up now, and we're about to get underway. Here's our bumper ahead of our second race of the day here in Imola. So, one more race to go then, and the tension's starting to build on this grid then, as Filip Savinski on a reverse grid pole has got a brilliant opportunity here to score a major upset, but with so many front-running drivers right behind him, not least Patrick Rozak, our most recent winner in P6, and then we've got James Juba, so strong in that first race. Alexander Gonzalez-Green, his teammate, starting P4 ahead of him, and then Jack Mayer in P9 looking to recover from a difficult first race here of the day. So lots of fighting to come, but here on the formation lap is a great chance to look at our 27 car grid. Filip Savinski and Frank Hamming make up the front row with Lucas Phylan and Alexander Gonzalez-Green joining him on row 2. Row 3 is Michael Francesconi and our 7 seconds ahead of him winner in race 1, Patrick Rozak. James Juba and Alexander Ragozza will start 7th and 8th, exactly where they finished the first race. Jack Mayer will start from P9 ahead of Antonio Hriljanovic. Che Hatch, P11 from 26th on the grid, with Omari Watson once more lining up in P12 on the 6th row. Row 7 is Victor Bernat and Matej Gazowski. Row 8 we have Menno Quant and Oliver Hargitay. Row 9 is Wesley Stefano and Vopke Hoekstra. It is an all-overpower row 10. Scott Flack with a lot of work to do for the 19th with Massimiliano Rubeli alongside him, his teammate, of course. On row 11, we have Michal Galka and Ricardo Busani, Craig Patterson and Philip Koenig on row 12. Row 13 will be James Rokai with Micah Luving, hoping to get a bit further in this second race. And the teammate, of course, starting on pole position. Then Raymond Van Sust will start 28th and last, so we've lost a car from the first race, but I can't from memory remember exactly who it is, sadly.
I mean, oh no, that was a Team Iris spinning. It must be
dear.
Philip Koenig. Yeah, Philip Koenig has rejoined, thankfully, but those tires will have taken a bit of a drubbing there. The flat spot hopefully isn't too bad, so he probably should be able to reform on the grid. Yeah, he hopefully gets signal that he can take his original grid slot of 24th. But yeah, that'll have to be verified by race control. So yeah, there we go. That should be okay.
It is. I think he got it. If he had spun out the final corner, it might have been too late for him to retake the grid spot, but there was just enough time there for him to catch up to the back of the pack. So it's fine. They've let him through. But Philip Koenig having bad luck now before the race even starts, as you see Michal Galka just reversing back into his grid slot, one place in front of him. The light's already on. It's going to be a quick off here. The sprint race, 21 laps get underway now, and it's a decent launch then from Filip Savinski as they rush down the start finish straight towards turn 1. Keep your eyes out for Frank Hammy, who's got Gonzalez Green going around the outside of him. Can the Bodal man get into P2? Phylan is almost pushing Hamming along. Hamming up the inside and retakes P2 there. As you see, is that Jack Mayer, who's made a strong start up to P7 ahead of Juba now and challenging Rozak as they're going 3 wide in the background on the run into field there. That looks like Scott Flack in the middle of a sandwich of Hargitai and one of the Gallery 82s in front of him there. And Scott Flack desperately trying to get back into the points paying positions here, going around the outside at Tosa. But for Filip Zawinski, this has all gone to plan so far. He's held off Hamming. Hamming has held off Gonzalez Green, and Gonzalez Green has gone ahead of Phylan. So it was a brilliant launch from Gonzalez Green there. Couldn't quite get into P2 though.
Yeah, Chris Williamson confirms that Pablo Serrano and his 01 Esports car is the one that's missing. So Pablo has not taken part in race 2 tonight. But there we go, his teammate Ragosa will hopefully carry the flag for 01 tonight. But yeah, Francesconi, runner-up in the first race, has to keep ploughing away to make sure he can pick up a double. Not so far, he's stuck behind Jack Mayer. Yellows have appeared in the final sector, could be anybody. But it's Roquai. Oh, devastating.
Yeah, well, after a difficult first race, it's not gone much better in this one. Of course, he got such a strong start to that first race before things literally fell apart for him, sadly. So yeah, James still a bit more experience to learn in FS1, but he's shown a fair bit of promise then. If he can keep going in this one, who knows what could happen in front of him, especially with the retirement race. So Savinski is on the hards, and him and Hrjanovic are the only two on the hards as we see. Oh, Bernat making a move on Hrjanovic just as I mentioned him. So the softs coming into play there, and it looks like Antonio is being forced to play the long game here. But I'm really fascinated that Savinski went for the hards here, because that feels like the ultra conservative option. If he can defend from Hamming though, he might be able to make it work. You never know.
Of course, yeah. It'll be worth a go if he's comfortable on the harder compound. But Hamming will certainly lick his lips if there is any sort of anxiety brewing from that Scuderia cap play. Yeah, what matters for Hamming is that he holds on to P2 at the very least. And there's trouble for Bernat. Bernat is tumbling down the order. It's going horribly wrong for Alpha Sierra.
It's not a good couple of laps to be an Alpha Sierra fan, is it? Oh, brilliant move from Bernat, and then it immediately comes undone for one reason or another. Hamming, though, as expected, really strong on the soft tyres, right in the wake of Filip Zawinski here. Zawinski's going to try and defend the inside, but Frank Hamming is going to be so much quicker to the outside with the DRS, and Zawinski now on the hards has got to hope he can keep up with Hamming and wait for those softs to sort of drop off a cliff essentially, as we see all more movement going on behind. Kozowski and Hrjanovic now fighting over P12, and a little bit wide in the background. That looks like Stefano being pushed wide as Menno Klon capitalizes and goes up into P14.
Yeah, he's through. Wide
Hrjanovic. Oh dear, he's lost a load of positions, so the hards looking just absolutely incredibly difficult there. That one mistake has cost him loads of positions. He's gone from just being inside the top 10 to now being almost outside, very much outside the points now in P18 behind Scott Flack.
That's an enormous shame there. Still has a chance to make up for it. And if anything, yeah, Wopke Hoekstra is going to try and reunite with Menno Klont there. Oh, and Gonzalez Green for P2.
What a mistake from Savinski into the variant Alta then. So clearly he's taken a bit too much curb or gone wide somewhere, and Gonzalez Green has gratefully nipped up the inside. So now Alex into P2, free to chase after Frank Hamming, and now Phylan will fancy his moment. Of course, all these drivers on the slow tires know they need to strike now, but crucially, Savinski will get DRS. Gonzalez Green not close enough to Hamming to get his own dose, and that allows Filip Savinski back through there. So, was that deliberate maybe from Filip Savinski to try and get DRS by letting Gonzalez Green take track position in the final sector there? Or was that a genuine mistake, as we see Phylan and Rozak almost side by side there, and that's allowing Jack Mayer to close in on the both of them here. So Mayer has made a very, very strong start. Him and Juba both cleared Francesconi, and now Rozak, our Race 1 winner, is under attack from his main rival in the championship because Alex Laho's not here today. Jack Mayer, as we see yellow in Sector 1, somebody else has hit trouble There's one after the other, and the wheel is gone for James Larokai, and that could be a real big setback for Alpha Sierra there.
The repair bill, it's going to ramp up a little bit. Certainly the bruised spirits will have to try and recover for the British Grand Prix next time out. So yeah, for Alpha Sierra, it's just not been their sprint race either, so they'll just have to regroup for next time. And here we go, Patrick Roszak hoping for a double, makes a bit of contact with Tylene, but both cars have managed to carry on as normal. No risk of a puncture there.
That was risky. So I think Filer must have made a mistake and then dived back up the inside into Rivazza there. And it looked like he locked wheels with Roszak there. I thought that was going to go disastrously wrong, but well, it's not over yet. Roszak back around the outside. Gonzalez Green back into P2 as well. Now Mayer following through as well. So Filer getting absolutely mugged. And hold your breath, because here comes Juba as well, who's also setting personal best. 123.3 last lap around. Now he is going to be next to strike on Lucas Filan there. So Filan's gone from starting in the top 3 to just absolutely falling down like a brick through the top 10 here.
Oh yeah, that's just one of those times, unfortunately, it's gone against him.
It's DRS, isn't it? He didn't get it, and he was a sitting duck.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, Savinski now in P3 and about 6/10 behind Gonzalez Green. So it's crucial that Alexander escapes this time around, because Harmon, you can see 2 seconds up the road, is getting more and more confident in the lead. Meanwhile, Roszak is fastest in the middle sector. And look at Savinski just absolutely attacking the curb to try and keep Gonzalez Green in sight. But if anything, Roszak now has gotten the hurry up, and he recognizes a big opportunity here as Flack and Stefano are fighting over the final points paying positions there in 14th and 15th, almost side by side. It's going to be Flack that's got the inside, and also Wesley Stefano being picked off by Hoekstra there as well, who follows the similar yellow car of Flack through. So now it is a 2 CM techs either side of Scott Flack here in this fight in the lower points. And it looks like Roszak, around the outside of Savinski there. So, yeah, this is what Savinski would have feared would happen. They're picking him off one by one, and he's got to rely on the DRS to stay in play here until tyre wear becomes a factor.
Of course, yeah. The podium is out of reach now after Roszak really knuckled down and performed a fantastic lap, and he's doing another fabulous job in the first sector, going purple with a 26.5. So this setup once again paving the way for the Emerald Hummingbird to really stretch its wings here. And Alex Gonzalez Green will have to know what is on the horizon. May felt, getting rid of Filip Servinski for his overtake was great, but now it's the threat of the race 1 winner coming in leaps and bounds at the moment.
Yeah, and Jack Mayer as well with a point to prove in P5 now, closing in on Savinski here. So Mayer has seen his podium streak end in that previous race. He wants to start up a new one, doesn't he? And to do that, he has surely got to clear Savinski sharpish here. Meanwhile, Roszak and Gonzalez Green are fighting. Patrick Roszak sets the fastest lap of the race. He's looking to get 2 wins in a row here, isn't he? He's trying to do the Alex Lowe's. There we go. Filin gets back through actually on Jack Mayer for P5 there, and the door is open for Roszak too. He goes up to P2, and now he's got a clear road at fighting for the race lead, provided he can pull away from Gonzalez Green before the DRS opens again.
Of course, yeah, that's great news for Patrick. He's very much on the ascendancy. His job is to pull away from Alex.
He stealthed his way up to P2 from 6th on the grid, hasn't he? He's just waited for the moment, picking off one after the other, and that's really what you've got to do, especially at a track like Imola, where really that run for the DRS into the Tamburello chicane is the best overtaking opportunity, unless you can make something happen elsewhere on the track. A little bit of gravel kicked up there, but Roszak has got the bit between his teeth. Hamming is clearly the next target, and he will have seen Roszak coming here. So this will be interesting then. Has Hamming decided to use the gap he's had now to save tyres, or will he start pushing it a bit now?
Yeah, I think Frank will have to conserve perhaps for 1 lap just to make sure he has life at the end when it could get fishy. Oh, there's a big fishtail from Roszak's rear tyres, but he caught it very nicely. I was going to say his attacks into the Variant Alta were very impressive indeed, but watch out, Gonzalez Green isn't finished yet by any stretch. And he has P2 once again in his control. So that was the objective for Gonzalez Green, to stay in touch with Roszak, and he's been rewarded with the overtake. And there was a change of positions. Juba has put Bottle up again. Tylene has lost out.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, as we see Francesconi and Ragosa side by side. Now Che Hatch looking to take advantage of Omari Watson as well at the back of this field. Che Hatch to the outside of Francesconi at Tosa. Is there going to be enough room? Just about, as Che Hatch does battle with our second place man from race 1. He's going to be on the outside at Piratella. They nearly lock wheels. Che Hatch tucks him behind, and sensibly so. But Che Hatch was really giving the Italian a lot of pressure there. And they stay as they are, P9 and P10 then. But yeah, what happened the previous step was the final, I think, got picked up by Mayer going into Variante Alta, or somewhere earlier on the lap. And then Fabian was a bit of a sitting duck with the DRS for Juba there, as plenty of curb taken there as Che Hatch crashes back down to earth as he gets over the curb. And now Omari Watson will be keen to give his fellow countryman a bit of a swapping of position for P10 here. As you can see in the background, Gazowski is fighting away with Menno Klont as well for P13, as Scott Flack is also in that P12 battle as well.
It's very true. A great end of lap sector for Alexander Ragosa, the purple third there. But Filip Czerwinski now, he might feel
he's just been passed.
To life. Oh, no,
he's just been passed by Mayer.
Exactly, yeah.
Great stuff from Jack Mayer then. And Mayer, not a moment too soon, because he was starting to lose a bit of touch to the Roszak-Gonzalez Green battle for P2 here. And he's really one of the other drivers in the field that could really be a threat. The other, I think, is Juba now, who will be very, very keen to dispense Czerwinski as quickly as possible, because he knows this is sort of the turning point where the softs, if you push them too hard, this is where they might just start to show the first signs of giving up on you if you're not careful then. So that it'll be, from this point, harder and harder for the soft tyre runners to pass the hard tyre runners. Hrljanovic is down in P17, by the way. The other hard tyre runners are Pisani in 20th, Luvink 22nd, Koenig 23rd, and Patterson right at the back in P24. We've lost Hargitay, Riboli, and of course Rokai we saw losing the wheel earlier.
Yeah, attrition has been okay so far around Imola. So drivers are able to roughly keep it safe and sound, but of course we have seen some heavy shunts as well with the walls and other vehicles as well, so that's been a scary thing. But yeah, hopefully next time will go better for those drivers who haven't seen the checkered flag in this sprint race. I know a great feature race can feel a bit wasted if you don't do well in the sprint as well. But there we go, it's just one of those things in sim racing. And Tylene, this track that has great memories for him. He's got to fight back. No, he lost that podium in that first race, but he still has opportunities. The pressure applied to Czerwinski with Juba. Juba is giving him everything he's got right now.
Yeah, it'll be annoyed seeing Jack Mayer ever so slightly start to pull away in front of them, as Ragosa almost had a 40 think about and move up the inside of the Piratella back. The 0-1 man had to back out. Ragosa looking for 2 P8s in a row, which would be, by his standards, really, really strong for this season then, given that he's usually had a decent reverse grid results from lower down the grid, taking advantage of the chaos, but tends not to do quite as well in the feature race. So he's bucking the trend so far in this particular event. The other thing that's happening is Hamming, Gonzalez Green starting to lap similarly, but Roszak about 2 tenths slower the previous lap. So that means Roszak has fallen out of DRS range, 1.2 seconds behind Gonzalez Green. That's extended to 1.6 on this lap, and then Mayer 1.7 behind is starting to catch him as well. So our top 4 not really decided yet. If Gonzalez Green, he's set almost identical lap time to Hamming to 3 decimal places here, 1 minute 23.323. So Hamming and Gonzalez Green are matching each other identically here, and that's very much a definition of a stalemate between the two if I've ever seen it. So yeah, crucial for Hamming that he doesn't leave the door open and doesn't let Bodel get even a sniff of taking their first win here, because Hamming, with his reverse grid magic, has got to try and get back up to P2 in the championship, especially with Roszak and Mayer the big threats to him in this one.
Yeah, that's what Hamming needs to do. He loves these sprint races. They suit him down to the ground. And the fact that Gonzalez Green has been the nearly man at times this season. Certainly the Japanese Grand Prix, second race of the season. It was a case of what might have been for Alex in that reverse grid draw there. Came P2 behind Alex Lahu. So if Juba can boost Bottle's prospects. There's a great move though for Che Hatch. He's overtaken the hometown hero, Francesconi. Oh, it's even earlier than DRS zone. So
yeah, it must have been a mistake, unless this is deliberate from Francesconi to try and get DRS here. 10 laps to go. This one has flown right by, and it's gone very, very interesting because Rozak has upped his pace. Purple middle sector. He's now about 1.3, 1.2 behind Gonzalez Green. So not a lot of overtakes between our top three, but they are very much fighting each other. Juba around the outside of Savinski, and he really had to get that move done because he was starting to run out of laps there, and Savinski now is going to be a lot harder for Phylan to pass now from this point onwards because a lot of the hard tire runners are starting to set personal best. Janovic is at 1:23.4 down in P17. I think he's gotten back ahead of Victor Bernat now.
Right you are, yeah. So
Savinski also 1:23.6. That's his personal best, even though Juba crucially a tenth quicker.
Interesting, yeah. So Savinski is starting to get the tires into gear at the moment, but the pressure is just too substantial from these cars behind, and Juba is the latest to prove that as a fact, but it can change towards the end. Juba's middle sector 0.2 better than Phillips, and then Lucas Tylene, he will have the slipstream heading into the Ravazzas, and that will just make it even less certainly there'll be less confidence for Savinski to hang on to these positions. Everyone in the top 10 would love a piece of him, starting in this latest battle with Lucas Tylene, who's had a bit of a struggle here in this reverse grid draw.
Oh, Rozak just outside DRS range, or he's 1 second exactly behind Gonzalez Green there. As you can see, Savinski getting DRS, but the gap that Juba has pulled is enough for him to hold on into temporarily then. So Juba now can focus on having a rematch against Jack Mayer, who will be no doubt delighted to see him coasting up to the rearview mirror rather than Mayer catching Rozak.
Yeah, exactly. Mayer has that buffer to those behind him right now.
What's Rozak's got the buffer behind him?
Excuse me, yes, you're right. Rozak has a buffer on Mayer, who has a buffer himself, just about enough at the moment, about 1.6 seconds. Tylene gaining a bit more time on Savinski, and yeah, 10th of a second in the first sector into Acque Minerali. Yellow in sector 1 probably indicates a back marker might have had some trouble, but we'll stay focused now on the battle for 6th position, with Tylene now trying to prepare himself for this overtake. But if anything, yeah, Juba is giving DRS back to Savinski, and that may hamper Tylene's prospects for now. Watching his mirrors, of course, for Ragosa, who has been a very impressive driver today. Both races have been very solid for him in the 01 Esports.
Yeah, I think the yellow flag was for Koenig, who's our most recent retirement from the race, sadly. A race that really didn't start well and didn't go on particularly well either. But the other thing that's going on is Janovic has passed Wesley Stefano for P16. He's now just 0.8 off of the final points paying position. So our two competitive hard tire runners are Savinski in 6th, Janovic again just struggling to pass Vopke Hoekstra for the final point. There's a bit of drama there. Is that Rozak getting up into Peter Hammings down to P3? Frank Hammings made a huge mistake, and Gonzalez Green has taken the lead.
My goodness, that's huge. Absolutely massive.
It must have been into Villeneuve.
Major blunder of some sort here for Frank Hamming, losing 2 places, as Ed has said, into Villeneuve. Oh, the exit. Oh, 360 spin pretty much. Yeah, and he just misses that retaining wall on the outside. So an unbelievable recovery, as well as an unbelievable mistake on his own. So Alex Gonzalez Green versus Patrick Roshak, 1-on-1 for the honours of the sprint race here in the San Marino Grand Prix.
God, poor Alexander Gonzalez Green, given this brilliant opportunity to take the lead. No Alex Laho to stop him, and then all of a sudden Patrick Roszak shows up behind, wanting to play. So that mistake from Frank Hamming unforced error, as you say, Eoin, and it has opened the door wide open for Rozak to go through, and he's leading with just 6 laps to go then. And now he has got to make hay while the sun shines and break away from Gonzalez Green here. But Alexander Gonzalez Green knows he's close enough to still make use of the DRS here. But Rozak's confidence is going to grow and grow, and this could be a real drubbing match between these two. If with the win up for grabs, you think Gonzalez Green is going to throw everything he's got at this one here.
Oh, by all means. And of course, Patrick Rozak, he's had this experience of finishing second and third multiple occasions in the past in FS1. He's got a winner's trophy in his cabinet. But the fact that Gonzalez Green, he's the new Patrick Rozak. He's the one who's been waiting and waiting for a successful day in FS1. So he will not be impressed if he ends up finishing second again. But Rozak will revel in the fact that he has driven the 2 events of his career to this point. Absolutely sensational lap is on the cards here for Patrick Rozak.
8 tenths the gap, 7 tenths as they come out of Rivazza 2. You can see Harmon pushing for all his work, but he knows that victory may well have slipped out of his fingertips there. Rozak goes for the fastest lap race, 122.5. Gonzalez Green, he has got DRS, I think, but he's nowhere near close enough to mount a challenge here. So he's got to hope this next lap is enough to halt the momentum here. But Rozak, as I said, looking stronger and stronger. Che Hatch, who lost that position to Francesconi earlier on, has gotten back through, and it looks like Omari Watson briefly tried to get a piece of Francesconi as well, as we look at Ragozza all over the back of Filin in the battle for P7.
Yeah, that we certainly are. Oh, but he goes a little bit wide there. Thankfully, not a repeat of what happened to poor old Frank with the tyres spinning up too violently and causing a big spin. So Ragozza has Hatch to think about as well. Those left side tyres will be a little bit dirty, but they should be cleaned up by now, just to put extra stress upon them heading into Acque Minerali. So yeah, he should be all nice and tidy again. Che Hatch, who's definitely felt the benefits of race pace setup work. He certainly prefers it to a qualifying performance in the Hugh performance tonight, and he's hoping for a top 8 in this sprint race, which would be extremely impressive.
Talking of impressive, Scott Flack from 19th on the grid has gotten up to P12 ahead of Menno Klomp now, and he set his personal best lap of the race last lap around. He's about 3 seconds behind Watson then, so it's unlikely he's going to get too involved in the top 10 battle until there's something truly extraordinary happens, as both Ragozza and Che Hatch set purple final sectors of the race, although Ragozza's was faster. And look at this file into the outside of Zawinski. That was very risky there. So Philip Zawinski, he is going to be ruining this hard tyre choice, because he's gone from pole to P7. Still good points, but he would have been hoping for more. The soft tyre runners have not really fallen off the cliff. They managed it too well here, I think.
Yeah, definitely appears to be the case here. The soft tyre runners are positive that their tyre management has been very much on target, so that makes it extremely tough on Philip to hang on to his positions. As of right now, Alexander Ragozza, he's quicker by some margin, of course. Oh, there's the kick up of dust, and that could be the pressure proving to be beyond comprehension here for Zawinski and Ragozza. If he can line them up correctly, then this will be another just battering really for Cap Clay. But Che Hatch, let's not forget, he's coming, and he wants the honours of making further ground here. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, Gonzalez Green was briefly closing on Rozak. Rozak was responded by setting the fastest final sector of the race once again. It's the gap just over a second then, and crucially, Rozak keeping Gonzalez Green at arm's length here as we see 2 moves going on. Ron Zawinski tries to go up the inside. Ragozza goes or to the outside, trying to defend against Che Hatch. Forces Hatch over the curb, and round the outside of Hatch goes Michael Francesconi. Oh, a bit of a hit from Watson as well. So Watson tried to make a cheeky little move up the inside there and found the door blocked.
Oof, well, yeah, that's going to be the way to defend your places. You've got to be aggressive without showing foul play. And there we go, Francesconi just feeling he's got to work even harder to make up places. definitely this sprint race is it's knocked him back a little bit. But Hamming still on the podium after that spin. It'll still be a fine day's work for HGP if things remain as they are. Ragosa aggressively on the curbs there, but he's away, no problem at all.
Yeah, I think Che Hatch is one of the fastest drivers on the track, and certainly has been outpacing Francesconi at points in the race. But that mistake, that move on Ragosa not working out, him getting pushed on the curb, cost him so much. Instead of gaining a place, he lost one essentially. So of course now he'll get DRS and another opportunity to repass Francesconi. Problem is Francesconi is close enough to Ragosa to get the same favor then, and now Ragosa has got Savinski all to himself then as he pulls to the outside into Temporello.
There he goes. There's the position for Alexander. So that will mean 0-1 will have a healthy points gain with their sole representative in this sprint race, and he has a chance, certainly a slimming chance to overtake Tylene as well, but he's got the ambition here, I'm sure. Quick in the first sector, and Savinski will help him out even more by blocking these remaining drivers in P9, P10 and P11 at the moment.
Yeah, such a close pack, isn't it? Because they've all been bunched up behind Savinski, and yeah, now Ragosa can maybe use the pace that he's got to challenge Phylan as Savinski dips wheel in the gravel. He's really just struggling on the hards at this point. 2 laps to go. He's got to just try and hold on and make it to the end, but now Francesconi and Che Hatch will be pushing him all the way. Oh, and Ragosa in the gravel too.
Yeah, he has perhaps bailed out Philip right now. He will get a huge boost of DRS. Che Hatch is coming. There's no question about that. He is right on Francesconi's case. And of course, Amari Watson is hoping for a double boost with 2 laps to go for these drivers as Patrick Roszak stabilizes his lead 1.7 seconds right now.
Watching who's closing on P3 as well as look at this move still going on. That's Savinski bang around the outside of Alexander Ragosa there. So the mistake from Ragosa allowed Savinski to use the DRS, and now Ragosa looking up the inside into Villeneuve. He's surely not going to back out. They go side by side. Savinski really has to have his wits about him. Ragosa runs out of room. Through goes Francesconi. Che Hatch tries to find a way up the inside, but 3-1 at Tosa. It's not going to work. Meanwhile, Jan Mayer is half a second behind Frank Hamming in the fight for P3. So that's a really crucial fight there. Mayer trying to get back onto the podium. After his podium streak ended, he wants, I think, what would be his 9th podium of the season or something ridiculous like that. So, yeah, Frank Hamming needs to make sure he holds on in this final lap because Mayer's going to have a great chance with DRS on the back straight here.
It was 9 podiums on the trot for Jack Mayer until today. So he was probably the one driver who was less than pleased about the spring break. But yeah, anyway, if you can get a 10th podium in 11 rounds, then that is definitely a sign of ambition. But final lap begins. This is it for our various drivers, hoping to gain an extra point or 2. Che Hatch just perhaps feeling, yeah, he's got the sandwich situation. He's got 2 cars realistically in front of him. He's got 1 contender behind. Scott Flack, of course, can't be dismissed as he recovers from his race 1 error out of Variante Alta. Roszak continued to grow his lead, but Francesconi, he's got to go for a bust here, but no, he's been blocked.
There we go. So Savinski was not going to make himself easy prey there on this final lap, and why should he? He's putting a really good defensive drive. As always, that somebody hitting trouble a bit further down. Is that Hajanovic? No, it's Vodka Hoekstra, sorry. Oh, I think it's fallen to P19. There he is, and somebody else behind him has lost their front wing. Is that Victor Bernat? Oh, it is. So it's all gone to pot for both of them, and I think that's put Wesley Stefano into the final points paying position for MS Performance then. So certainly some hard luck stories out there, but Roszak is coming around. Well, he had to wait ages for that first win. It looks like he's going to take 2 in a row there. So in the background, Che Hatch now desperately trying to find a way through on Ragosa and running out of room and time.
50 points out of 50 for Patrick Roszak as he slaloms in celebration across the finish line. He has dominated around Imola in similar vein to his countryman Szymon Frelick back in 2023. My debut commentary for the FS1 series. Filip Czerwinski has managed to maintain P7, and Francesconi beats Ragosa.
There we go. So Michael just about holds on, even though Filip Czerwinski did get the better of him in the cap clay, did our pole sitter. As there's Victor Bernat. I don't think it was Bernat that lost his front wing. It must have been somebody else. Maybe Roman Van Sust, I think. But yeah, either way. No, Van Sust has got his front wing too, so I must be seeing things. So it was definitely Hoekstra that was in trouble there, because he definitely cut across the gravel. But yeah, either way. A very exciting, tense race all the way through. But yeah, Rozak, once he pulled clear of Gonzalez Green, there was really no stopping him there, was there? And you've got to feel for Frank Hammond, because that one mistake cost him victory, but luckily was able to just about hold off Jack Mayer at the end.
Yeah, for Patrick Rozak, even with that deficit of having to start in P6, he picked off everybody in front of him. He didn't do anything exceptionally rash, and he has the victory. But of course, Jack Mayer couldn't quite rescue a podium here for Potentia. This will go down as a missed opportunity in some respects. It just hasn't been their day, but yeah, Jack Mayer just does the best that he possibly could, and he'll try and reflect before heading home for the British Grand Prix.
So there we go, confirmation of the results. Patrick Rozak takes the full 50 points then provisionally, having won the feature race and now the sprint as well. So the gap between Rozak and Lahoud, by the way, was 104 points going in. He's almost halved that to just 54 points then, which is quite extraordinary. I wouldn't be surprised if Rozak at the end of the once he tallied up all the mass, might be up to P3 or even P2 now in the standings. He was P4 going in. Alexander Gonzalez Green, third in race 1, missing out on victory, but nonetheless a really, really strong pair of races from Gonzalez Green there, and Bodor Racing Team will be absolutely over the moon. Frank Hamming, what could have been ready for Frank, was not running away with the race, but had a solid gap, was out of DRS range, and then just one momentary lapse of concentration cost him a chance of a reverse grid victory. How much will he rue that come the end of the season? Jack Mayer, a good recovery up to P4, and the same could be said for James Juba as well in P5 then, meaning Bodor Racing Team get a lot of points from this round. Lucas Thailand started P3, ends P6, but does pass Philip Savinsky for sixth in those closing stages as our pole sitter, falling to P7, but nonetheless, for a first go, Savinsky finishing both races in the top 7. Michael Francesconi finishes P8, a little bit disappointing after his P2 in race 1, but nonetheless gets through on Ragozza near the end, as Alexander Ragozza has to settle for P9, and Che Hatch will round out the top 10. Mari Watson ended up at P11, getting a few more points for Potentia. Scott Flack from 19th on the grid gets up to P12, so a good recovery from Scott Flack after an error that he will no doubt regret in race 1. He definitely redeemed himself significantly in race 2. Matt Ocon ended up in P13 ahead of Matthias Gazowski, as we see his teammate Rozak doing donuts, and justifiably so. Very, very well deserved victories for Patrick Rozak, and Wesley Stefano rounds out the point scorers in P15. Janovic, well, he was another to gamble on the hards. It didn't really work out for him, falling to P16 then. Michel Galka was 17th, Riccardo Busani 18th, Fopke Hoekstra with that late calamity falls to P19, and Raymond Van Sust is our final finisher in the top 20. Then in 21st we have Victor Bernat, who is our final finisher of the race. Micah Luvink is on first retirement, sadly, retiring in both races. Same for Philip Koenig. Craig Patterson didn't get much further either. Oliver Hargitay, sadly, we lost early on, along with Massimiliano Riboli and the unfortunate James Rokai, who of course lost the wheel in a crash early doors, as it looks like the Emerald Hummingbird has sung its last tune. The engine is gone. And that is our results taken care of. So now we can transition to the interviews, and immediately I imagine mixed feelings for the Bodor Racing Team, because a very strong day for the team, but for Gonzalez Green, he'll be just a little bit miffed, I think, to miss out on victory, as you alluded to.
Of course, yeah, it's getting closer and closer for Alex, but today he's just been beaten by another driver in the form, like the irresistible form, I should say.
Irresistible force, yeah. It didn't seem like anybody was going to beat Patrick Rozak today, come hell or high water, as they say. So, without further ado, as the interview room pops up with a couple of drivers that did compete in the race and one that didn't, let's get Enzo Uterovic Funcic in. And collate his thoughts.
Yes, please.
So, sorry to drag you in mid-sentence, Lorenzo, but joining us now is team principal of the Bodor Racing team, Lorenzo Oterovic Funcic. So, Lorenzo, has to be said, from a team perspective, a very strong day. 3rd and 7th in race 1, and then 2nd and 5th in race 2. So, especially Alexander, really excelling out there today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite the win that we would have wanted, and especially that Alex would have wanted, but double podium after a while away from that position. Before I left to come here, he said that he's absolutely drenched in sweat, so I think he was drenched in sweat with preparations for Imola as well, and it's paid off very well. James as well. I'm happy with the team in general, how we've done this round. I did say after Montreal that we're going to come back stronger for Imola, and we did, so, you know, I'm happy that we kept to our word.
You certainly weren't lying, that's for sure. And of course, you went in 4th in the standings, 171 points. I think you comfortably got more points than KKR. Of course, Emerald Hummingbird, 2 wins to their name, so that is going to make them a bit of a threat for the rest of the season. Do you think P4 is the goal now going forward?
Yeah, top 5 has always been the goal. P4, I mean, that's inside. I mean, top 5 has always been the goal. P4 is inside the top 5, so as it stands, we're doing what we set out to do. So yeah, obviously KKR struggled a bit today. I think Hargit had a double DNF. You don't, even as an opponent, you don't really love to see that. Fabian obviously performing as well as ever. Rorschach, I mean, it's a bit ironic, and with no shade to Patrick, obviously amazing run from him, but it was one of the biggest complainers in regards to Alex Lahoo. And now he's carried on in his spirit, pole and double win, so, you know.
Well, you saw what happened in Bahrain,
didn't
you? So it's understandable from Patrick. We'll hear from him a bit later, I guess. But
Bahrain was Bahrain, this was Imola, you know. It's round 7 of 16, so there's 9 rounds left. I doubt that either of them are still living in what happened in Bahrain. I think they're both looking forwards, but none from them are on my team, so what do I know?
Yeah. A word on James, because he went the alternate strategy in race 1. Had a very physical fight with Jack Mayer. That must have been a bit tense for you.
I mean, he mentioned something that he'd like to look at after the race, and we'll take a look at it. I didn't manage to see it quite well. But yeah, I mean, alternate strategy seemed to have worked out fairly well. During testing, James said that for a change this season, the hards and softs feel fairly similar on race 1 pace, and, you know, it showed well. He qualified, what was it, P11, and managed to finish 7th, so yeah, he gained 4th position, worked out well for him, and yeah, hopefully, because this has been a problem in the previous 6 rounds, where the softs have been so much better during both races. This race, they were pretty even in race 1, but obviously race 2, if you knew how to look after them, the softs was still a better choice over the hards. I don't think that's going to change for the remainder of the year, but hopefully we have more race 1s this year where the softs and hards are more even, as opposed to what was, for example, I don't know, Sepang or something.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of disparity in Malaysia, wasn't there? Anyway, Eoin, any questions for Team Owner after his 5th podium of the season as well? Gonzalez Green's 5th podium of the season as well, to be fair.
Yeah, by all means, welcome in, Lorenzo. My question relates to Alex's strategy in race 1. He took those softs, as you mentioned there. They went very long into the first stint, so was that something he knew from practice, that he could nurse the tires for that amount of time?
That's something that he decided on the spot, because during practice he mostly, I think, tried the hards, because, you know, he didn't do many hard runs in the previous rounds, if memory serves well. But during the race, he realized that the softs really were fairly even with the hards for race 1 pace, and, you know, he was a bit taken aback on the spot with how that panned out, and, you know, he dragged on the softs further than we would have expected. I think during the preparations we were expecting to pit between lap 12 to 14, and he managed to stretch the softs out even further to, what was it, lap 19. I think he said he could have stretched it out even further, but didn't want to lose time on the drivers behind, so yeah, completely his own decision with the strategy, and it worked out well in his favor. Might have been a bit odd to see to some, but I mean, if it works, does it matter?
So it
I
doesn't
guess
matter.
Can't argue with that, can we? But anyway, Lorenzo, I think that's all the questions we have. So thank you very much for talking to us. Best of luck to you, Alexander and James, for Silverstone in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, enjoy your big haul of points and your two podiums.
Thank you. We'll be coming with a special livery for Silverstone on account of the fact that the FS1 race also falls on the Croatian Independence Day, so look out for that.
Right, I'm going to real Silverstone on Saturday, so see if I can get a Croatian flag with me. Who knows? Even though it'll be a couple of weeks early, but who cares? Anyway, thanks
It's
to
the floor that counts.
Yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
Fabian.
Well, we'll let you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, and who should we go for next? Philip Savinsky or our ever dominant Patrick Rozak today?
Yeah, it has to be Patrick. I'm sorry, Philip, but yeah, definitely.
Oh, we'll get to Philip if he sticks around.
Yeah, hopefully he can hang about, but yeah, definitely Patrick needs his praise and certainly his insights into how he dominated so much today.
Right. Well, let's hear from him now. We're joined by Emerald Hummingbird's very own Patrick Rozak. Patrick, I feel like we had this before in Bahrain where you said you'd won your first race and then it got taken away. But this time you got two in the bank, even though you had to wait a few extra races longer. Pole position, race one, it was lights to flag domination, winning by 7 seconds. And then in race two, you just picked them off one by one, a little bit of back and forth with Gonzalez Green. And then once you broke DRS, it was all in your hands and you just absolutely smashed it. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it was a beautiful round, to be fair, and I believe there is nothing I did like in Bahrain, and there's no one to report me like in Bahrain. I'm not gonna say names, but we know. But yeah, I mean, it was perfectly. I wasn't so confident during the qualies because I was a little bit like shaken. And I knew there's a pace, and I was forcing myself to bring out more pace, but hopefully that one lap was enough. And in the race one, basically, I just had to run away from the Michael Francesconi, I believe it was, on P2.
It was, yes.
Yeah, and the rest was controlling the pace and tires because I had issues yesterday and today morning with the tire wear, but I managed to figure it out, and it was okay during the first race. I didn't do too many mistakes, and I knew there's no Alex on the grid today, so I wanted.
Well, there's Gonzalez Green, who's another Alex. But...
I mean Alex Lehu, of course, and I wanted to take advantage of that, and I managed to do that. And during the race 2, I was praying to a very low reverse grid number, and somehow it was P6, so it was the lowest which we can get. Right?
Indeed it was, yeah. Your prayers are answered.
Yeah, and during the warm-up I was talking with Pavel, our engineer, that we need to focus on the tire during the first phase of the race. So for the first 10 laps, I was managing to don't go over 2.5% on the right front to have advantage in the second phase. And as you could see, once Pavel on lap 11 told me to put the hammer down, I was basically overtaking one by one, like I said before. So it was one of the best races I've had in my career so far, and I've learned a bit to manage the tires, so a little bit better. So I'm grateful to be here and to win those two races and have P1 in quali. Like Alonso once said, P1 in practice, P1 in quali, P1 in race, total domination. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and
I would like to thank Pavel for sitting with me yesterday till 3 a.m. Yeah. Thank you very much, Pavel.
Wow, you stay up to 3 a.m. and you're doing productive things rather than just watching YouTube videos like I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, you'll be pleased to know, by the way, Patrick, you came in today 104 points behind Alex Lahoe. You're now 54 points behind, so you've almost halved the gap entirely. Do you think going into the next 9 races of the season, do you think there's it's game on for the Drivers' Championship?
I hope so. I know that Alex wasn't sitting just. He was sitting just watching, and he knew that when he's fighting with me, it's not so easy for him, like we saw in Bahrain. So yeah, game on, I could say. Yeah, I'll do my best.
Absolutely brilliant then. Eoin, any questions for our double winner, our new domination man in FS1?
By all means, yeah. Congratulations, Patrick, first and foremost. My question is, what driving style did you bring forth today? Was it more that the car had downforce, or did you have the straight line speed that you felt could bring you success all around Imola today? What was your preference with the setup?
Hopes and praise.
Well, certainly preserves your secret. So yeah, it certainly paid off.
To be fair, the setup wasn't feeling so nice during the practice sessions, and when the rubber came up to the track, somehow when I clicked more front wing one more, it suddenly just became like on raids. During the qualies, during the race, it was beautiful. I've never had so beautiful handling car till now here in this series, in this car. So yeah, just hopes and prayers, to be fair.
Well, we haven't got prayers in the chat, but we've got a lot of praise for you, Patrick. A lot of people are very, very impressed by the job you did today, and I think justifiably so. So well done on the 2 wins. I'm sure they're the first of many we're going to see this season. So thank you very much for doing this, Patrick. And yeah, best of luck for the rest of your championship, and indeed Emerald Hummingbirds Teams Championship as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope we'll hear each other during next rounds. Who knows?
You'll be hearing from us, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right, as we let our new winner, he's a new winner. We'll keep forgetting that because of Bahrain, but he is definitely a new winner now, and he's got 2 to boot. We let him leave the broadcast room. We've got one person who's still wants to talk to us, and that is Scuderia Cap Clay's very own Philip Zawinski. So Philip Zawinski joins us now. Philip, 2 top 7 finishes for you. How are you feeling? Well done.
I'm feeling great after like the disconnections in the last 2 FS2 races. It's a great way to like bounce back from the like, let's say, sadder days. And I will definitely figure out what was causing the disconnection, so I should be ready for more rounds.
My drivers appreciate it, so don't worry. Sorry, that sounds a bit like a backhanded insult to my drivers. I didn't mean it that way. But anyway, obviously you got how late was the call-up for Cap Clay today?
I mean, I think it was around 6 hours before. I mean, I was already talking,
not too late.
And like I was already practicing yesterday because there was talks of me driving Hugh car instead of Alelehu. But then Michel Levin contacted me and said, "Oh yeah, there is an open seat at Cap Clay, so how about you join, so we can like work together."
Yeah, well, it turned out to be a pretty good call. You impressed in qualifying. Was it P6 on the grid, I think?
Yeah, it was P6.
And then getting to P6 in the race, I think you did the sort of... you were watching a lot of fights going on in front of you, and you just sort of stayed out of trouble and profited with by staying in P6, didn't you? And then race 2 with the draw was the more interesting one. So talk us through either race if you've got anything to say. Because it was an interesting call to start on the hards. It was one of the few that did it in race 2.
I mean, in race 2, I was like going from the 2025 strategies. So I thought the hards were like the softs were gonna wear out by the end of the race. So, and I usually struggle with tire wear. So I opted to start on the hard, so I can just make the race and just finish it.
Yeah, it did look like it was a little bit of a struggle once Harmon got through the sort of floodgates open, didn't they? And it was just a case of keeping them behind. And there was some really, really tense fights towards the end of that second race, you versus Francesconi and Rigotta, especially.
I think Rigotta is a little bit unhappy with me. He tried to brake check me after the race in turn 1, but I'm happy with the defense. It's like good to me to see my style is kind of back of being able to both attack and defend. That's what I was missing from like the early days of my racing, and that's what I like about my style.
Brilliant, and you certainly put on a great show, which we enjoyed watching you defend. And certainly any FS1 drivers looking for a full-time driver, you've certainly put yourself in the shop window with a very, very solid job. As we say, at fairly short notice as well. It was only 6 hours before actually realizing you were driving a Cap Clay today. So anyway, so I have to say congratulations from my side. Eoin, from your side, have you got any questions for our latest point scorer in FS1 this season?
Sure, yeah, Philip. Great to have you back in FS1. My first question is, will you prepare for the next round in Silverstone just in case you get a call up?
Yeah, I'll probably do some laps. I'm gonna do a lot of Silverstone in the next upcoming days. So probably driving the FS1 car won't be a bad idea, just to get prepared. Also considering that I have a bunch of setups now, so I can just work with it.
Very good. And is Silverstone a track that you enjoy?
Yeah, definitely. It's much better for me than Imola. It's always like that at Silverstone. I do better than at most of the tracks. Looking forward towards it in any series I race.
Nice one. Well, really appreciate your answers, Philip, and hope to see you again soon. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you again for talking to us, Philip. I was just looking in the chat because there was a couple of very nice comments from, I think, Joop Lahoven was praising Savinski's for qualifying P5 at one point. And I also just saw a comment from Virtual Motorsport Series and comms is awesome today. And it's like, gee, wonder how they've heard of me. But anyway, so yeah, lovely to see. But yeah, well, I think we'll let Philip go. And I think, Eoin, it'll be time to end the broadcast with what's been a bit of a exciting day at Imola, certainly in terms of if you're a Patrick Rosak fan or is he an Alexander Gonzalez Green fan.
Of course, yeah, the joy has arrived for Patrick after the brief despair of Bahrain. He knows he had the chance to react to that setback with his best foot forward, and he certainly has come forth. He listened to the plea. Someone had to shine when Alex was absent, and yet he has been the man tonight. So very much congratulations to him. But of course, Bottle have been exceptional today. HGP also fought very hard. But of course, Potencia, I know they'll be back for next time. They'll be pumped for the home Grand Prix for Potencia and the two drivers. The Englishmen will be absolutely determined to shine brightest at Silverstone. So we'll see how they all get on in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think Potencia might have just gotten enough points with that fourth from Jack Mayer in the second race just to squeeze ahead of Hugh Performance there with 2 cars scoring over 1. So yeah, it'll be fascinating to see again in the home race if they can extend that or if Laho can get Hugh back on top. So it's Vietnam versus England at Silverstone, which is an interesting combination. But anyway, I think that just about wraps up from us, Eoin, because there's not too much else to say with the racing done and the interviews done. So then all that remains to be said is our next round, of course, is Silverstone on the 25th of June in 2 weeks' time. But of course, next week we have Super Lights on Tuesday with, of course, Toby Davies, Alex Folks talking you through that. And then Super League. Of course, I was very lucky enough to sub in at Super League for Canada just before the break with Ross McIntyre. And I think Caitlin Penny is back in the comms box. So you can see whether Loic Mounier is going to go one step closer to retaining that title or if somebody else can steal a march upon him. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that championship develops. But in terms of FS1 for Imola tonight. Congratulations, double congratulations to Patrick Rozak on taking his first win and then immediately taking another win. My thanks to Eoin for joining me in commentary, and to Fabian Jungbluth in broadcast direction, doing a dutifully brilliant job. As ever, my thanks to everybody watching on stream at home, including you, dear listener, if you're indeed hearing this right now. And yeah, thanks to everyone at GPV that keeps the show on the road. So that's all from us at Imola. Good night and goodbye.